And I want you to walk around this earth knowing that you are that girl. That those things happened to you, it happened. Yes, it happened.
Can you hang out with me every day?
Everybody go. 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 Do I look okay tonight, guys? I feel so frazzled. I don't feel like I'm looking my best. Hi, Gina.
Hi, everybody.
How did you get that? How did you get it that close like that?
Oh, because I'm sitting like, I'm maybe a good 16 inches away from my phone. I'm super close.
Oh. Because you're a face queen, so you can do those types of things.
Thank you. No, you too. What are you talking about? I'm not the only one.
That's always so sweet to me. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Of course. Speaking of that.
How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm stressed, overwhelmed, because I'm making Christmas happen over here. In my house. Christmas during quarantine is kind of crazy, so doing this right now is nuts. But I'm having my first Christmas tree ever. Like, I've lived on my own since I was like 18 years old, but I have never had a Christmas tree. So it's been 10 years since I've had my own Christmas tree. So I got to make my own tree. I built a wreath. I decorated my whole apartment. I love it.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Can you take videos and send them to me? I would love to see it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. You know, I try. I'm really bad with this whole like video recording thing. I'm really bad with like documenting my life and like my personality and who I really am in real life. So I had made every plan in the world to time lapse decorate my tree and my apartment and my wreath and everything. And after I was done doing each one of those, I was like, oh, I was supposed to record it. I was like, yeah, it's okay. I got on the next one. And then I forgot, and now my whole apartment's decorated and I have no videos whatsoever. So I'll send you some stuff though. It's cute.
Fun.
Yeah.
That means you were preoccupied with having fun.
You guys want to see it? I'll give you like a little sneak peek. My apartment's it's a little crazy right now, but this is my tree.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, and there's a couple other little like random things in my apartment that are really cool.
That is so cute.
Yes.
Gina, how are you feeling about this?
I'm good. I'm nervous. I don't get nervous about many things, if anything at all, to be honest. I think I like hold my nerves internally to the point where like no one outside of me sees them, feels them, knows that they're there. But I'm nervous about this. Like, I don't know why. And I think because like, I know a lot of people are like, well, why is she even doing this in the first place? Because she's talked about it already. Yeah, I've talked about it. But I talked about in the moment when I spoke about my truth, I think it was still fresh to me. It was still very current. It was still very real, to the point where I couldn't really wrap my head around everything that needed to be addressed. So I kind of focused on personal things versus like the grand scope of things, if that makes sense. So I think a lot of people are like, why did she talk about it already and now she's here again? And it's like, because not everything was talked about. And I think it makes me nervous because the first time I kind of just got on live and just like spilled my feelings. I didn't give anybody the opportunity to be like, hey, what about this? Or what about this? Or how was this experience? I didn't do that. I kind of just got on there just to talk because of how I was feeling. And I knew it needed to come out. But now, like, we just opened the door for people to ask us questions. And I don't know why it makes me nervous, because I haven't been able to talk to the super fans the way that I think they want to be spoken to and to be personally addressed. I think a lot of that gets lost in translation when you're dealing with like personal experience. So I think it's kind of scary, because the first time I didn't like talk to people one-on-one and like ask them, what did you guys want to know? Or what did you feel was weird? Or, you know, what do you want answers to? I didn't do that. So it's new for me.
You know, I think I can give you credit, and I think we all can give you credit for probably starting this whole trend of unveiling the veil for my terms regarding Top Model. Like, I remember when you posted your video, like, it was everywhere and everyone was talking about it. And something tells me that you doing that and taking that leap of faith has opened up the door for even people like Mr. J to do his chats, and then, you know, it's trickled down to people like me, and I've been connecting with all of you guys, and, you know, some people have come on and they've shared comedic stories, but
yeah.
shared very serious moments and very strong feelings backed by real experiences. And so it's been therapeutic for so many people that, you know, who have participated, and they've told me it's been therapeutic for the contestants, it's been therapeutic for the fans. And so I think we all should give you a round of applause for doing that, because it did start something that has led to a lot of healing, a lot of realizations, a lot of conversations. And we have you to thank for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I want everybody to know, I think at the beginning of this, like, I didn't go into Top Model with like a motive of how to tear it down once it was done, regardless of how it happened to me. And I think that a lot of people are under that impression, you know? I know you've heard, like, you get comments and side stories about other things that most super fans don't, because you know way too much about Top Model. But you know what I'm talking about. And it's like this like connotation that I just, excuse my French, want to shit on Top Model, and it's not that. But I know for me, like, I have always been, you know, a fighter for the underdog, a fighter for the person who had everything, but no matter how much you had, it didn't matter once you got to where you were supposed to be, you know, and like all those little things. So I think like going through it myself, like, I let a lot of things ride. Like as aggressive as I think people think that I am about my experience, I think I'm more aggressive about my experience because I know I'm not the only one who it happened to. And I know being a Top Model super fan myself, a lot of girls, especially if I would have seen this, I think I would have approached it differently. People wonder, like, why did you even go into the experience if you know it had this reputation or it had this or it had that? I didn't know. A lot of people didn't talk about it before I did. And that's just the truth of the matter. So if I can help open someone's eyes to the potential of what it could be and how it could affect you, not to say don't do it, but I wish I had somebody there to tell me, hey, red flag, yellow flag, orange flag, but like, do you, but know going into it that you need to show a different flag to make it happen, or the contrary, or whatever it was, you know what I mean? But like, no one did that for me. So I think for me, like, I'm a fighter for the underdog. I'm a fighter for the person who has everything, but like has every card stacked against them. And regardless of how much it's affected me in my personal life, I will always see it bigger and broader than just myself. I know a lot of people think I'm selfish and all about me and all about that. And that pisses me off about my experiences, that they made me seem like that. And I'm very like everybody else. You know what I mean? I'm a lover, I'm a fighter at the same time, but I'm more of a lover than anything. And if I fight, it's not because of unjustified reasons, it's because it needs to happen. So for me, yeah, like that's my biggest thing. I think I get a little butthurt too when I hear people like say such negative comments or like assume my story or how I felt, even with the tell-all that I already did. And I still like, we're getting way like deep into this already without any questions, but like, I think a lot of people think that I just hate Top Model. I don't. Like, this is crazy to say. I wish my boyfriend would come down here and confirm this for me. Every night I fall asleep. Like, if I'm not watching Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, which it's usually not Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, but every now and then it is. If it's not that, it's America's Next Top Model. Like, I fall asleep to Hulu, America's Next Top Model every night, even since my experience. Like, it's not going to matter what I went through or how it affected me, what I saw in my own eyes growing up as a kid, and how I put that on a pedestal to become what I was mentally, emotionally, physically, everything. You know, so for me, it's not like, I think people think that like I hate the show and I hate everything about it and that I'm ungrateful, and like I'm not. I really love everything about it, and I still do to this day. Like, there's still things that I watch about that show, and I couldn't take away how I remember how it affected me when I was 10 years old or when I was 11 or 12. And like in that moment, like I remember sitting in my bedroom clipping my toenails while, you know, Joanna was dealing with, like, you know what I mean? Certain things like that, you know? So it's like those things are still like very significant memories in my head that I will always like hold really near and dear to my heart. And they mean something to me, you know? Like, I'm not completely bitter about the experience. I just think that mine could have and should have been different.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Where do you want to start?
I don't know. Let's just get into the questions because I don't even know where to start. There's so many places we could start.
So I think I want to start off where we all last left you, which was those 2 viral videos of you speaking about your experience on Top Model. The first
Yeah.
question that I have from you is, what do you feel like you left out of that video?
Everything. More so because I think it was so fresh and it was so current to me that I don't even think I could wrap my head around telling you guys the logical things behind it and why I felt the way I did, or like, I think it felt so personal that like anybody outside of myself or a boyfriend or a mom or a sister, brother, close family member who dealt with it with me wouldn't identify with it. And even those people, I'm telling you, even in my real life, those people didn't identify with what I was talking about, regardless of how personal it was to me. They weren't there. I was the only person who could tell them whatever. They were excited to see it on TV. Nobody wanted to know what the hell I really went through. In my real life, I literally was told to hush, be quiet. Like, I just want to watch it on TV. Don't tell me. And I was just like, whoa. Like, so initial, like the first experience of going through that was like really defensive for me, because even the people closest to me wouldn't listen to me. They were just more so my family is not very like, not in the entertainment industry, very like normal, go to an Ivy League school, be smart, don't be an artist, like that kind of a thing. I was an artist my whole life, so being a creative wasn't a question for me, but doing what I do for them was a whole question for them. So every time instead of questioning it half the time, they would just rather not talk about it. So for me, it was like a very standoffish thing initially to like be a model, but then all of a sudden when I was on TV, everybody was just like, shh, I just want to watch it. And it's like, no, but there's things that happen in real life for me that I'm trying to tell you beforehand, because I want you to hear me as a family member, not as somebody on TV. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think you've probably dealt with that too, like being on TV and like seeing family members change and like, you know, the relationship and how people respect you. I know you've gone through it. You know, you don't have to talk about it, but I know you've gone through it. And like, that's like for me, that was like the first punch that happened. Like, because I wasn't expecting a lot of things on TV to happen the way that they did. But that was the first punch. I was like, damn, like my own family doesn't even want to listen to me. I'm like, okay, well, let me just watch the TV and act like they are, you know? And like, and then it gets so far in and you never got to defend yourself that when it all comes to fruition, you're just defensive and no one listens to you for you and what really happened. So it's like, you just feel like you lost, you know? Like no matter what. I'm not talking about in a competitive aspect. I'm just saying like in the real world, like you just lost at that point. Like there's so much making up to do to get people to understand where you're coming from that like there almost isn't anything you can do, you know? Like it's a hard thing to explain, but I think when you're on reality TV, it's a very normal thing to understand.
I understand everything.
And unless you're on TV, you just don't get it. Somebody said I need therapy.
And you know what?
You know what, boo-boo? We all need therapy, okay?
Now, Gina, don't you start this because I was going to turn the comments off.
That was the first comment I saw. I just happened to look down and I was like, ooh, she needs therapy. You know what? I probably do need therapy. And where's my restitution from Top Model? Because they talked about all this therapy that we were owed and I didn't get none.
Okay, listen. Ariel DeAndre Brooks wants to know, did Gina face any repercussions for making all those allegations in her YouTube video?
I think I would have faced repercussions if they were false allegations. And at the end of the day, for me, my goal is to speak the truth and to speak my truth. I guess I can't necessarily speak for anyone. And I want to point that out from another previous live, more so with Khrystyana, because I know a lot of people came at her with so many questions about me, which I don't think was fair to her, because she should be able to speak about her and her experience and not have to make up words and stories and all this for someone else. I don't think that's fair. But I think, you know, there's so many allegations and things that are finger pointing at me, assumptions, and me just being a negative human being in general while competing. And that's not the case. I think if I was wrong and I was just making up all these false things, like I think there would have been a whole different outcome for everything. And I think that's what's frustrating, is defending yourself knowing you're right and everybody still tell you you're wrong.
What are some of the assumptions that you constantly hear that you're just like, that's so not right?
I think this bothers me the most because I am probably the most close to Khrystyana out of everybody in the competition. It was during slash before. I would say before because not meaning before TV. So before, during, and after, you know, filming. Khrystyana and hearing like that I would intentionally try to sabotage like her shoots and stuff like that. Like I really didn't, you guys. Like look, I'll own it to my faults. I have no problems owning it to my faults. Or like if I really felt like somebody slighted me in a certain way to the point where I'd be like, okay, bitch, you want to play that game? I am that girl. But I'm not that girl if somebody doesn't like deserve that. And I really truly wasn't like that with Khrystyana. And I think it's weird to hear people say like, you tried to sabotage her. And like, she was great. She's good. Like, she's amazing. I just sat there and had this conversation with my boyfriend the other night about like how inspiring she was to me during the entire competition. There was one day we were doing interviews and you guys don't see all the interviews we do. We sit for hours and just talk about random countless shit that you guys don't even know. 10%, 5% of it hits the air. The other 80%, 90% is squashed. Like, you know, you just have sitting there talking for hours half the time about nothing. But, you know, one time I remember them asking me like, oh, what one girl do you feel like is your competition? They would ask me this over and over, like, who's your biggest competition in top model? And for me, I would always say myself. And it's not a matter of putting myself on a pedestal above another person. But at the end of the day, for me, I just want to get better than the last week. Like, I just want to grow. I just want to get better. I want to learn. Like, I've not been in this industry my whole life. So why the fuck am I here? It's to learn, to get better. It's to become better at what I'm doing. It's not for anything else. It's not literally, it's not to make friends. I'm not here to make enemies, but I'm also not here to make friends and all that either. I didn't know anybody before I got here. Like, I came here for my passion only. You know, but they would ask like, who's your competition? I'm like, me every week. And I remember one week they were like, why do you keep saying yourself? And they're like, can you say somebody other than yourself? Like, come on. And I remember being like, ew, like, don't tell me not to tell me myself is my biggest competition. Like, I was aggressive about that. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, the reason why I feel like I need to get better is because I don't feel like I'm the best. And if I had to point somebody as in that situation the best and like the girl to look up to, it was Khrystyana. And she was great. And I remember them asking me like, well, what girl? And I said Khrystyana. Like, I really genuinely feel like she's amazing. Her being curved, her being, you know, a little bit older than everybody else, and like having, like, to me, that girl identified with everything that should have been America's Next Top Model this like past season. Like, if it was up to me, Khrystyana would have won. Minus the contract. Now that I know the contract bullshit, I'm happy she didn't, so that she wasn't locked into something crazy. But like in the real world aspect of who should have won Top Model 24, Khrystyana. Let's be real. That's just me. Like, based on all the parameters and everything behind it, it's no like shade or guilt toward anybody else or anything like that. I really did love that girl, and she's unstoppable. Like, and her pictures are beautiful. Like, I would literally every night go and stand and look at our model wall with everyone's pictures on it. And like, I would look at everybody else's, don't get me wrong, but I would always stay stuck on Khrystyana's row of pictures. And I'm just like sitting there like, God, how does she do it? And I could never figure it out. But I think that's the biggest pet peeve for me looking back on everything is like the animosity that people tried to create even between me and Rio, but more so between me and Khrystyana, because her and I didn't have that relationship during filming, you know? So it's weird to like go into real life with those parameters and knowing that that's not really the case, you know? That's my biggest thing.
You know, I will say watching Cycle 24, which is like one of my favorite cycles.
Yeah.
Minus all the bullshit, of course, like all the behind the scenes stuff that we now know, Cycle 24, story-wise, competition steak wise, it was so freaking good. Like, I felt like they had finally perfected the formula. Like, the judges were amazing. The photo shoots, even though I could tell they were nickeling and diming, but it still felt right. Like, everything just felt right, you know? Yeah. And I become like a real serious modeling competition. Before I ask a question, and before this question slips my mind, can you tell us what was the contract that the winner had that was kind of icky? I just heard you talk about it a little bit.
Well, I could tell you guys the actual contract if we had seen an actual contract, but word for word, I can't tell you because it kind of didn't exist. That's just the truth. For me, it was really weird because like I watched Top Model my whole life, right? Literally 23 cycles. Like for me, I'm like, I'm expecting her, Wilhelmina, Ford, Elite, Next, whatever the agency is with, you know, Italian Vogue, this, that, blah, 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 L'Oreal, Rimmel, Maybelline, like, right? And I didn't hear any of that while I was there. And I remember, like, when you're first in the height of it, you don't really think about all that, right? Like, you're not thinking about all the little pieces and parts that they're forgetting. You're just competing. So you're like, there's a lot of things getting left out. And I remember, like, maybe after, like, week 4, going home after elimination, and I was just like, hey, like, asking the producers, I'm like, do you know what we're competing for? Like, what the agency is, what the prize money is, like, what the prize package is. And they were like, no, why? And I was like, well, I don't, like, it doesn't matter to me, like, what the prize money is or whatever. I just want to know what I'm competing for. That's all. And, like, they were like, oh, you know, don't worry about it. Like, and they try to, like, brush it off. And I remember being like, this is so weird, because I know I can't be the only girl who's, like, wondering this, right? Like, there's 15 of us. So I'm just like, this is crazy. I can't be the only one who's asked this. And then I think it was maybe episode, what you guys saw, episode 7 or 8. 7 or 8. But for us, it was in episode 7 or 8, where finally after elimination happened and they eliminated a girl, they have a stand-on panel and they tell us what the next week's challenges are maybe going to be or whatever. And then we finally were like told, Tyra was like, do you guys want to know what your prize package is? And I was like, yeah, like, I need to know. And then we heard about Next, Paper, Pantene, and we weren't sure. With Pantene, they kind of gave us like a teeter-totter situation. It was like, they said it was going to be either a commercial or a print campaign valued at $100,000. But they didn't necessarily say if Pantene was giving over $100,000 in cash plus the print and or the commercial. Like, it kind of wasn't really described to us. I think we didn't care at that point. Like, nobody really cared. I think most of the girls were there. At the end of the day, I think this is the reason why most people aren't super salty. We weren't there for those things. Maybe at the beginning of, like, the whole Top Model series and, like, the branding and everything, every girl was there to, like, really change her career and, like, or try to develop a career in general. Half the girls who do Top Model now have brands. They've got social media. They have all this other stuff. So I don't think for most people it was like, oh, how much money am I going to get from it? It was more so, God, and people take, this is such a bad connotation too, I hate to say this, but more so for exposure. And I think that that's just the truth of it. Like, you could win and, like, you know, learn and grow from this experience too, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, why does anyone go on TV anymore?
Right.
You know? So it's like, so it was kind of weird to, like, I don't know, go through that, but then, like, not have a real prize at the end, but at the same time, it's like, whatever. If you're there just to grow your brand and, like, who you are and expand, whether you win or not, at the end of the day, the same shit. I don't know.
Yeah. I know, I remember where I was going earlier. If you guys saw, I kind of, so the beginning of the show, watching Cycle 24, the flaw in Cycle 24 is the ending, the middle, and the beginning do not match. In terms of who's the villain, who's the hero, who's gonna win. And I felt like once we got to, like, the top, after Khrystyana left, it was like, okay, now we're finna make Rio look mean and nasty. Okay, now we about to make Gina look mean and nasty. Now we about to put Khrystyana in these combative things, and Kayla's just gonna just slide through until the very end. Did you feel that while filming? Like, it was this outside manipulation? Because to me, it seems like there was outside manipulation, and outside manipulation to me is production and producers doing things.
Seems like.
Feel that?
Seems like. You know. You already know. But yeah, no, it was more than just feeling. Like, we could actually see it. Like, most girls kind of knew, like, when it was their week to get eliminated, when it was their week to be the villain. Like, we kind of knew, because treatment from all realms changed. Your food, how quickly your food was brought to you, the questions that producers would ask you when you're doing confessional or interviews versus confessionals, and, like, how they would treat you on set during your photo shoots. Like, you kind of could just tell. Unfortunately, yeah. But yeah, seeing it in real life was, like, really weird to me, because I'm like, okay. And I think for the girls it's confusing, and I get why. I think it induces people's judgment on other people and how to treat another person based on what's going on around them, regardless of if they directly influence what's happening. But yeah, there was like certain times that I'm just like, why are they going at Khrystyana like this? And I mean, I've talked to Khrystyana after the show and everything. Like, I don't have no beef with Khrystyana. We had beef while we were on the show, just a little bit, you know, but we like hashed all those things, handled it like grown ass women. It didn't need to be put on TV. It didn't need to be put on the internet, you know? But like, I remember sitting there and being like, why are they being like this with her? Like right away too. And I'm like, I mean, I guess she might have had that colorful exchange is the word they want to put it with law. You know, but everybody has their little downfall moments. I had moments like that too, but nobody treated me like that directly after responding to something defensively, you know, and like, you know what I'm saying? So like, it's weird how they pick and choose like who's going to be the bad guy and how bad of a, you know?
Okay, and because I'm smarter than 3 fifth graders put together, I was watching Cycle 24, which is probably my third favorite cycle to watch, I'll be honest. But I'm watching it and I'm like, how is it that every week a girl is going home? It seems so perfectly placed.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Anna goes home the week where it's supposed to be all these emotions.
And, well, and then my biggest comparison, when you bring up that, how convenient for Liberty to go home in Pride Week of all the fucking times. You know what I'm saying? Like little moments like that. Not that I don't think that like she needed to learn lessons or things and hearing that, whatever. We were all there to learn, grow, and compete and expand, right? But there were just certain things that were like, really?
The Trump supporter goes home on Pride Week after taking photos with drag queens. I said, now look at this shit here. Now look, whoever did this needs to swallow old cold coffee because this is very obvious right now.
Yes, it was really, really obvious. It's almost embarrassing, yeah.
You know, I call it bad and lazy producing. And I'm sorry whoever made that call that I potentially may be reading you right now. But it's bad if the people at home can obviously see that these things are on purpose. How is it that Liberty, who had been doing such a great job up until that point, goes home as a Trump supporter after taking pictures with the drag queen on Pride Week? How's it that Khrystyana goes home on the week where it's supposed to be all these emotions and all these things and things? How does I can't think of the old thing. How does she go home on the week where it's supposed to be like this youthful campaign and it's the paper like oh my God.
Of course. All of it makes a lot. It's weird. I don't even know. Y'all know the truth behind everything. I think people want to believe something is a certain way, regardless of the truth. And I think reality TV is like the perfect little like, I don't know.
Okay, back to the question I asked you though. Did anyone call you from production about your videos? No one called you?
No, honestly, I wasn't even like, I really thought that maybe, just maybe. The day that I did that, I'm not even gonna lie, I was in Orlando actually working at a modeling competition, judging a modeling competition. And I had like an hour and a half break. And I remember like, I got this influx of DMs and emails and comments, and it all comes in waves. But it comes in waves because, like, for instance, 2 weeks ago, our show just aired, like America's Next Top Model Cycle 24 just aired in Sweden 2 weeks ago. So you deal with all the like hype of like, oh my God, like makeovers, and then, oh my God, you're a bitch, like all at the same time, you know? And it's like, that all happens at different times regardless. Like every country is different when they're showing it. So it just kind of like happens. And I think I just got like a wave of whatever. I don't know what country, I don't know what happened, but it was just a really serious wave of like, I felt like I had to say something and I had to address it because so many people were coming at me left. And I was trying to be positive. It was years after Top Model, and I really felt like I had grown, and like I thought I was wrong. I thought I had gotten over it emotionally, you know, until I started talking about it then. But me thinking about it and like the comments and everything going on, like I was like, I have to address it because it was hitting me in an emotional place that I felt like wasn't done. And I felt like unless I put it out publicly because my story was so publicly shamed, I felt like I was never going to get to that point. So I was like, you know what? I have an hour and a half, like in between my break of judging this competition, and like, let me just hit record and go live and just talk. Like, I didn't have any intentions for that. I didn't write anything down and like nothing. I just told people whatever was on my mind. And seeing the comments kind of like messed with me a little bit because it kind of like derailed my thoughts. But But I was kind of nervous because I wasn't sure if, I knew for sure we were 2 years like after the contract and all that stuff. Like that wasn't my worry. Like, my worry wasn't the contract. It was more so like, regardless of the contract, is there a way that they could come for me? Regardless of me speaking my experience and my truth and what happened to me, you know, because I was saying a lot of things that people didn't see on TV, and like, I don't know how much we can tell and how much we can't, you know, like, I really don't know. I just need to get it off my chest.
You need to get it off your chest.
To me, talking to a therapist isn't an option, because I don't know if you deal with this too, but like, just so you guys can open your mind to how much of a controlled scenario this is. They even contract in therapists and certain therapists that you are allowed to talk about your experience with. Anybody outside of that, you can't. So let's just say I needed therapy 3 months after I went home. It can't just be my therapist down the street. It has to be somebody who signed the NDA, who's under contract with the show, who's also abiding by 5.4 mil. Like, I can't just go talk to anyone. Regardless of what you guys think, you can't just go talk to anybody. Even though they're legally obligated to keep your business and information quiet and secretive, the reality TV shows don't want that for you. So it's like, you know, like, I still was dealing with my own shit, and I didn't want anything to do with their people, their production, their anything. So I spoke, and I really didn't know what was going to go on. I really didn't. But I really was expecting someone to say something to me at some point. Even if it wasn't like a legal binding thing, just like as a, hey, why'd you say this? Or maybe even an apology. I didn't expect anything from anybody, but maybe if somebody who was working with it didn't know how they affected somebody or didn't know something, you know? I was expecting something, and I didn't get anything. I got one thing actually from one of our sound guys. I will keep him anonymous for personal reasons. But he more so was worried about, you know, me speaking, and kind of mentioned 2 or 3 past America's Next Top Model girls who were in legal binding situations because of how much they spilled, and just said basically don't repeat their same mistakes. But because I was out of contract, I just kind of told them I'm not worried about it. And because I was out of contract, it never happened like that. You know, I think that these girls spoke out of contract, and that was the big thing. But I do think that they have, you know, some production people working behind the scenes who talk to us on regular basis who aren't Ken Mock, and who aren't, I won't drop all the producers' names, but, you know, these people who just talk to us on a regular basis and say like, oh, maybe you shouldn't say that, or maybe you shouldn't do this, or maybe you shouldn't do that. Like, all of that's a control too. Hi, Amina. Sorry, I see comments. I love Amina. She was a stylist on Top Model. She's fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cassie Winkleman from Instagram wants to know, can you talk about your experience with production teams during filming?
Yeah, it started out for me pretty good, actually. It really kind of, to me, seemed like people really cared. And then nobody was really there to like antagonize you or like go out of their way to like make you feel weird. But like the farther we got into the competition, it was almost kind of like the more they knew you. You take psych evaluation tests and stuff, so they kind of know how you're going to respond to everything. Like, they know how you're going to respond to, like, if someone rolled a ball down a hallway and you were the only one at the end of the hallway but didn't see anybody at the end, how would you respond when the ball got to you? Like, they know if you're going to be the person to be like, you, no, walk away from it, or, oh, yes, pick it up, and then kick it, or be the person to kick it back. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know, like, how you're going to respond to each scenario. That's a dumb analogy. I'm so sorry I did that. But, like, they know, you know, how you're going to do things. So, it was just really like weird, because at the beginning everything was so good, and I felt like so good and so weird though at the same time, because I remember being in the scenario being like, God, like, it's kind of boring. Like, I was like, no one's talking to me, no one's like asking me questions, like, I haven't cried yet, like, you know, like, no one's put me in like an emotional space that's questionable. Like, I've done pretty good on my shoots, like. So it was kind of like really smooth sailing for the beginning, and all of a sudden it was like, you know, and it was like all of a sudden they had all these questions, and they were rude about how they were speaking to me, and like it, like, and I'm telling you, overnight it changed, and you can just tell, and like it's gonna affect somebody's mental like psyche, you know, like even if you don't understand what's actually going on, like when you realize like, well, the person who's been so sweet to me for the last week and a half, 2 weeks is like now talking to me like kind of weird. what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, it wasn't so much. It was just a lot of like. The truth is, personally, this is how I see it. I think that we all, not just me, I think that we all and this is every season, every cycle, even girls who I think don't know it happened too. We were all mentally, emotionally, and psychologically abused. And I don't think that it's okay. And I think a part of the emotional like manipulation part of it is making the girls who did have good stories and didn't have bad experiences on the show think that it was all good and everything was fine and like my experience was great. That's a big part of it too, you know. And like I know a lot about psychology, so when I really think back to like a lot of the mental things that they did to people, it's not okay. Like it really isn't okay. And like as good or bad as people's stories may have been, there's still like a commonality within all of it, and it's their control. And I think that's really scary. I think it's really scary. Like really scary. And I probably would have like approached the situation differently. So many people are like, why would you go do it if you knew like this is what it was? I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I didn't know, you know, like I really didn't know. Honestly, like I was just going off of a hope and a prayer and a passion that I had for something. And then not only that, trying to like meet somebody who was my idol and somebody who was like, damn, like you're a mixed girl. You look crazy. You look like an alien. You got a big forehead like me. Like everything's cool. You know, like I grew up thinking like, oh, this person is like really somebody I can idolize and like put in. God, maybe I shouldn't say idolize because I think people take that word and they're like, oh, you should never, whatever, your idols. Yes and no, but we all have a hero. You know what I mean? We all have that person. And it's really hard, I think, to tell somebody not, hi, Khrystyana, but to tell somebody not to, you know, idolize or put somebody in the eyes of being a hero. Because at the same time, for a lot of people, heroes are their dad. That's their mom. You know, you're going to tell them not to heroize and idealize their dad or their mom? No, you can't do that. You know, and like I didn't have all those pieces put together. So for me, mine was Tyra. You know, but yeah.
I'm curious to know, and I'm not sure if you answered this in your previous videos, but I remember in your videos you spoke about when you met her, and I believe it was in the panel, and you were talking about your past and with Playboy, and she gave a very rude remark towards you about it. And if I remember your video correctly, you said she was like, I don't want to talk about that, or it was something like that. Once I'm done, please clear it up. I want to know, regardless, the moment was very off-putting for you. What made you stay throughout the competition after having that moment with your idol, as you described, very early on in the competition?
It was probably within 45 seconds of ever meeting her, ever really being on camera. Everything was really new and fresh. It was like you're really trying to fight and save face and like start your storyline and be who you know. So for me, it was more so like, so, and this is the part that I didn't get to explain in my expose. It came after like a weird connotation to, oh, you went from child modeling to like va va boom, you know, but and like all these weird like word like music and like I don't know, it was really strange and uncomfortable for me right away. And I was just like, are you talking about Playboy? Like I literally remember looking at them and I was like, are you talking about Playboy? Because I really wasn't sure, you know. And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like I did Playboy. I'm not gonna hide it from you guys. Like I never came into this hiding it. If I wanted to try to hide it, number one, I would have had a whole alias name when I did Playboy. I wouldn't have been Jeana Turner, my legal name for Playboy, if I was trying to hide that the whole part of my life, number one. So I always thought it was weird going into it that they responded that way, because I never kept it a secret, even from Skype interviews with them months before we even moved into a hotel. Like it was weird, but yeah, your main concern is what made me stay after she said it, right? Because it was so fresh and new.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. For anyone who may not have seen it, if you can tell them what was said and then explain to us what they said.
Okay, so I'll start there for you guys. Yes. Basically going into my hey, hi, I'm Gina from so-and-so place. I'm this how much old and all that stuff. Hi. You know, my first little intro on top model auditions. I basically talked about my experience. They kind of hinted towards some past work that I've done. And I do want a lot of people to know that, like, my work didn't start with America's Next Top Model, and I think that's another reason why I get kind of bitter about people saying Top Model made you. Was because I did have a lot of other work, and I'm not saying Playboy was like my everything. Oh my God, ooh, like, you know, like Playboy made my career, made me. I'm not saying that. But I do think people forget that I've had a lot of other work that's legitimate big work besides Top Model and way before. And so that's why this like whole Playboy thing, I think people like to shit on me for that. But anyway, so yeah, I was like, yeah, I did Top Model. They mentioned it. And Tyra asked me why. And I remember feeling weird about someone asking me why I did something, because number one, it's not your business. And number two, regardless of why I did it, like, who are you to judge? There's a lot of things that you've done in your career. You've made career choices that a lot of people wouldn't align with. So to me, it was kind of weird. But at the same time, I didn't want to be combative with her just because I felt that way about certain things she did, because I felt like she was doing that to me. I didn't feel like that was fair. And then not only that, you're saying this about somebody who, like, guess what? I'm not Kate Moss. I'm not Naomi Campbell. I'm not Cindy Crawford. I'm not Chrissy Turlington. I'm not fucking Linda Evangelista. Like, I don't have this background behind me. I'm trying to make it there. And I don't know the fucking sauce to make it happen. I'm just trying. Like, you know, like, I don't, not to say Playboy is going to ruin it for you, but it doesn't mean it's going to make it for you either. I'm just trying. Like, I just have a passion, and for me, that's what it was. So it was kind of weird for her to be like, why did you do it? And I'm like, ugh, like, you know, and I'm like, all right, well, you know, and I felt like I had to give her an explanation because I respected her, and maybe she really wanted to know. And defending it, you know, I just said, you know, I grew up with, and this is the part that was left out of TV that pisses me off, because I really feel like this would have justified why. Maybe not to everybody, because people choose to be stupid. People choose to be ignorant and choose not to open their eyes to why somebody might have made the life choices that they did based on their
experience.
I agree. Past, people choose that. But this, I really feel like, was left out. And I said, you know, for me, it wasn't a matter of like doing Playboy just to show my naked body, or because I had fake boobs that I really just wanted to show off to people, which some girls do, and that's okay too. But I didn't, you know, and I was like, I didn't do it for a man. I didn't do it for a guy. I didn't do it because I felt like being nude made me beautiful. Like, I did it for my own self-esteem. I did it to grow into my own femininity, because I grew up with things that were not normal. Like, when most girls got boobs, I lost my hair and also didn't get boobs. So imagine what the hell that felt like. You know what I mean? And like, when I turned 19, I eventually want to just feel normal. I want to feel like a woman. I want to do what I want to do. And however I need to bring myself to that space mentally, I have to do it. You know, it's not up to anybody else. Like, so why am I wrong for, you know what I mean? Like, why am I shamed for having done that? And not only that, I did that before I came to the show. You had every opportunity to tell me not to come if that was going to be an issue for you. And you came here and you literally made me feel like shit. And I don't think that's okay. You sit there and preach about building up people's, you know, worth and self-esteem and all this, like, everything. And it was just so weird. And when I talked about it, let me go back because I think I'm losing the point. When I mentioned the Playboy thing, she asked me why, you know, and I said that, you know, bringing up my self-esteem and like my growing in my own femininity. And she wrote, I said, not only that, I said, one thing that I know has worked for me. I said, I've wanted to be a model my whole life. I said, one thing that has worked for me, and this is just the broad spectrum of looking at business and selling things, sex sells. Everybody, I was tiny. I'm 5'4", 5'5". People put me in swimsuits, lingerie, fitness. I was an athlete growing up my whole life, so fitness made a lot of sense. Lingerie made a lot of sense. I had a nice body. I was fit. So it made sense to put me in those things because height doesn't matter for lingerie and for things like that. So that's what became normal. I was a glamour modeling is what that's called. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I said, you know, that's what worked for me. And I said, sex sells. And I put my hand out like this and I said, Tyra, I said, you've said it on the show a lot, sex sells. And I found out that that's what worked for me. The idea, and I said, not sex sells. And I said, the idea of selling sex has worked for me. And that's unfortunate, but that's what I figured out. And that's how I made my life as a model. Like, and she goes like this and goes, I don't like that. You sound like a fucking prostitute. Rolls her eyes and put her arms on the actual fucking table. Put her arms on the table and looked at Ashley Graham and would not look. She would not make eye contact with me. And that's when I started crying. And I was just like, damn, like, I really felt like I gave a good explanation for like, you know, like my point, my side, and I'm not
What
speculated.
joking? Like, what was it? Was it a sense of like a joke when she said that, or was she like very?
No, she was really standoffish and like really mean. It was really uncomfortable, and like I'm not really the person to like quit or like give up on shit or just walk out right away. But I'm not gonna lie to you, like that moment made me like when it happened, it kind of made me look a little sideways, and I felt weird. And I remember thinking like, do I just leave now? You know, like I really put myself in a space of like, damn, like maybe I should just leave now, because I felt like it was weird, because you kind of know when you can't come back from things on Top Model, and I feel like that was my first impression, and I knew I couldn't come back from that. There was nothing they were like, no matter what, I was gonna have to face that at some point throughout the competition. That was like the never-ending thing. It was either that I was too short, which they never got out of me because I always looked tall, or the next best thing they could say was me being too sexy all the time in my who come get me face. Okay.
So one of the fans wrote down in the comment section, and I believe they got it from your video of you speaking about this moment about Ashley Graham defending you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that?
I think Ashley defending me is actually what made me emotional.
Okay.
Because it's okay.
Oh, I don't want to start this. It's okay.
No, it's okay. I'm still smiling. Everything's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Okay. Talk through it.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I think that was more so what made me emotional, because I didn't expect her to defend me. I didn't expect anyone to defend me, actually. And I was combating so much at the time, and it was like Tyra, Drew, and Law were so against me. And Ashley was more so silent at the beginning of it. So I didn't know like where she kind of like what side of the fence she really stood on. But at the same time, like I know Ashley, I know her career, I know she's all about body positivity. Like I've seen that girl naked more than most supermodels, you know, like before the show. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, normally that person would be the one to, she was so quiet right away that I didn't know like if she was going to defend me. I didn't know if anybody was going to defend me. I was just defensive in general. And when she defended me, the craziest thing was like seeing somebody who like, she's an idol in so many other people's eyes. And I'm not going to say I don't idolize her. I do now. I'll give her a lot of credit now because of the experience that I got to have with her throughout the show. But I know that having Tyra be, for me, the idol that I came for, and then having somebody else totally opposite of me who doesn't identify with me, who isn't a part of like my brand and all that, you know, like defend me to me was a really big deal. And it honestly, like, it made me feel scared. Like her defending me actually scared me to compete, like if that makes any sense, because I really didn't know what I was up against. Like the person I went there for hated me is what I felt. And maybe Tyra doesn't hate me, you know, I haven't spoken to her. I know that's another question from people is like, have you talked to Tyra since? No. She left me on scene. She still hasn't responded, no matter how nice I am about things or how persistent I am. It doesn't really matter. But like with Ashley, for instance, like I've met Ashley outside in real life, outside of the show. You know, like she made sure I was doing good. She checked up on me, and like the person I went there for, the person I idolized in like my entire life, didn't even do that for me. It hasn't even said hi or I'm sorry. You know, and like to me that matters. But like in that moment, like I wasn't expecting Ashley to do that, and I think it was kind of just like a smack in the face. Like it's kind of like getting hit by a Mack truck. Like it was like scary, but like enlightening at the same time. If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
But Ashley's great. Like she really is great.
I'm sitting here listening to you speak, and I can't help but be taken back to when I spoke to Alicia White from Cycle 18. And you guys are saying a lot of the same things about, you know, how you felt before you met her, and certain things that she did that made you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Therapist, when I went to Morehouse College and got my degree in music, they didn't teach me anything about this type of stuff. But I do think it probably would serve you well if you reached out and spoke to her, on just how she was able to fix it, for lack of better terms, and how she was able to come to grips with a lot of things, rationalize a lot of things. and this is, again, you guys are speaking like some of the same words, the same language, and so I really do think you should reach out and talk to her, and just have a dialogue with her.
Okay.
You know, just to share a moment. I remember when I first met someone who I idolized. I'm not going to say the name, but I had a very similar situation, experience that you had, where I had looked up to this person, and then when I finally met them, it was like,
I'm
you
sorry.
know,
I have roommates. I have roommates. Give me 1 second.
oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
It's okay. You said hi.
How y'all doing?
Say hello to the gram. Say hello.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. We're just talking about emotional stuff. He said, "You okay?" I'm good. This is Andre.
Oh, hold on, Gina, move to the side. Hey.
He said, "Move to the side."
Y'all better be nice to her. Y'all be nice to Gina.
No, we got her.
No, we're just talking about good stuff.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Nice to see everybody.
Shit.
Nice to meet you too. But yeah, I do think you should. I do think that's a good connection that you can make and speak to her and share some of those things, because it seems like you guys had a lot of the same experiences, and I've talked to her after our chat, and just hearing her speak and how she views the world now, and how she thinks about that moment that she had on Top Model, I think could really help you out.
Yeah.
But back to our questions. Thank you, Gina. I just want to say again, thank you so freaking much for being vulnerable, and being brave enough to share these expressions and these emotions and these thoughts and these feelings with us. I know it is a lot for you, but that you're deciding to do it with us right now. I'm sending you love. The comments right now, they're sending you love, and we're very, very, very grateful, and giving you a big round of applause for being so brave in doing this right now, because I know, like, girl, I don't think people understand how many messages I get on Instagram, how many messages, you finna go, honey? How many, my boyfriend's about to go to work, but how many messages I get on Instagram, and about how people are really being changed in a good way from watching these. And I really do believe that this one especially will help so many different people. So again, I just want to keep thanking you and keep sending you love, kisses, and hugs for doing this right now.
I appreciate it. It's so crazy because I feel like each year, it goes by years. It's not by months or like half years, but each year. Oh, so cute. That was so cute. Bye, boyfriend. Have a good day at work.
Maybe they said bye.
But yeah, no, every year I feel like it goes on, I get like just a little less sensitive about it, you know, like, and I feel like I can just talk about it just fluidly and whatever, but it's hard to talk about because at the end of the day, a lot of it affected me like on a personal level, and not just personally to the point where it was just internal personal, like real life shit, like walking down the sidewalk, going through the airport, like booking jobs, like normal stuff that I have to work with now on a regular basis that I don't think is fair. And I think that's why like still hits me, and it always will. Like it's never gonna just go away one day to the point where it's like, oh, you're right. Oh my gosh, that did happen. Like I'll always remember it like it happened yesterday.
Can I ask you this question, Gina?
Yeah.
Like, you're not a psychologist, I'm just asking questions. Do you feel like you give it too much power?
You know, I've had a lot of people say that to me and say like, do or don't talk about it. Like everybody around me 50-50. A lot of people are like, don't acknowledge it, don't do the lives, don't do this, don't bring up another YouTube video. Or, you know, I have the other half of people who are like, fuck yeah, tell your whole truth, tell everything, spill everything, don't hold anything. Like, so I don't know. Like in a weird way, I feel like I'm doing it just the fucking right way. Like I'm doing it the way that I feel like I need to do it. It's not it's not up to other people. Like there's days it really bothers me, and there's days I could give a shit about America's Next Top Model. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like,
right.
Like I flip flop. I go back and forth. Like,
which is fine. Which is fine. You said something that was so magical that I think that people have to be okay with. Some days you are going to cry about it. Some days you're not going to give a fuck about it. But whatever you're feeling in that moment, as long as it feels right to you, you're experiencing it the full weight, you're accepting it, I do believe it does help to cope with it so much better. You know?
Yeah. Somebody just made a comment right now and said, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I agree with that. Like, and this is the best phrase I can give it. You cannot win for losing. And in that statement, I mean so much when it comes to me in this whole experience. Like, you literally cannot win for losing. There's nothing you can do. Nothing.
What I will say before I ask my next question, so we can get back to the fan questions, is Gina, you are fucking beautiful. You are stunning. There's not one eye that will look at you and not say she's not drop dead gorgeous and she's not a powerhouse in how she looks.
Thank you.
While I am so for speaking your truth and feeling those emotions, if you feel like crying, doing all those things, but please walk around knowing in this world that you are that girl. Please walk around knowing that. And I don't, I know to take time again. I'm not a psychologist. Only thing I know is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's what my degree is in. But what I will say is, Gina, you gotta start telling that shit, fuck it. Fuck her. Fuck her. I'm not saying fuck her because I never meet the lady, but I'm talking to you. Fuck it. It happened, but it is not me. It happened. Yes, it did happen to me, but it is not me. I am Gina. I am beautiful. I am stunning. I am sickening. And the spaces that I am occupying are meant for me. And the spaces that I'm not supposed to be in, they're not for me. Because I know who I am. I know what I am. And I'm telling you, girl, you are beautiful. You are one of the most beautiful, most looking people who ever came out of Top Model. And I want you to walk around this earth knowing that you are that girl. That those things happened to you, it happened. Yes, it happened.
Can you hang out with me every day?
But it's not who you are, mamas.
I know. Can you just hang out with me every day?
Yes, call me. It is not who you are. Please trust me. It happened to you for a reason. It happened to you so you could be on this live telling us about your experiences so that another girl don't make those. But girl, you have so much more stuff in your life that is ahead of you. I want you to hold your head up and say, fuck it. Tell them Oliver Twixt told you to say, fuck it. If you don't like me, suck a dick. If you don't like me, kiss my ass till shit shoves down.
Okay, I will.
If you don't like what I gotta say, go to another page. Let me help you.
Go to another page.
I don't want you getting upset no more at these comments, or I'm gonna fly my ass to Los Angeles. And
I don't even care about the comments no more. It's hilarious to me.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of you because these people don't know you. They know you from 5 seconds, from 15 hours that was edited down for someone's fucking pleasure up in a fucking office on a TV show. They don't know you.
I know. I appreciate that. Thank you. I need reminders every now and then.
You are beautiful and you are sickening. And you're one of the most sickening, stunning girls that show has ever seen. And you can walk around in this earth. Nope. That girl, in a room of 10, I am the one. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. That's all I got to say.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I don't even know what to say.
What is your real height? Some say 5'3", some say 5'7".
Okay, so I've actually grown since the show aired. Since I actually got measured in. So I think when I got measured in, I was like 5'3.5", almost 5'4". I'm 5'5". I'm 5'5", like even on the dot. I might be like 5'5.25", but I'm 5'5".
Yeah.
But not the 5'7" that they told you guys.
Gina,
no.
I want you, Gina, for real. I don't want you. Fuck her.
I know.
Fuck her. Fuck
I
them.
know. I've let it go. I've tried. I've offered to pay for dinners.
But I will say, I don't know anyone in that situation. So I'm not speaking to the situation. I'm just speaking of the situation. Everybody has their day where they have to answer for all the things they have done on earth.
I know.
The Bible says I ain't gonna get into that. Every man has to answer. He either is going to answer in the beginning or he's going to answer at the end. But he will answer. And I am a strong believer that when people go around on earth doing things where they feel like they are untouched, shaken, and they can't do anything, God is going to embarrass you in front of everybody. Every man has his day, and every man has to answer for everything they have done on this earth. You just make sure when God starts pulling report cards, that's right, or you will fail. Yeah. All right. That's why I don't get upset about people who've done negative things to me, because there's been a lot of people, but I just know that if you made it my day, but the God, the universe, all the things that exist are going to make it your day in the very end.
Yeah.
Joe down the rabbit hole wants to know, is it, okay, no, you already answered that. I was going to ask you, did you guys not know about your prizes? You said you guys didn't know about it, which I think is so strange, but, okay.
You want to know why?
Okay, tell us.
So typically, in all, like, we had 24 cycles total of Top Model, right? 23 cycles, it was a cosmetic sponsor. Maybelline, Rimmel, CoverGirl, you know, all that good stuff. But we never heard that for us. So I was like really thinking, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, Fenty. Like, Fenty should be like 2020 Top Model, like, or not 2020, it was like 2018, you know, Top Model, like, makeup thing, right? So I'm like, I'm really hoping for a brand like KKW or like a Fenty. The second I heard it was Pantene, I knew that they had issues. Look, I knew they had issues getting a sponsor. I think they had issues locking down a sponsor. And I remember when I asked, like, Pantene, I was like, Pantene's a hair brand. I was like, what happened to the cosmetic sponsor? Is there no isn't that a makeup sponsor? And they were like, no, like, you know, and I remember one of the producers, I won't name drop, but I remember one of the producers telling me that we actually had the lowest budget season ever in the history of America's Next Top Model. So that was the reason why we didn't go out of the country or even out of LA County. Or our house, you know, we had 2 rooms instead of 8 rooms that were the Milan room, this room, that room, you know, like, we didn't have all that, you know. But yeah, apparently based on you know, the budget, all of those things were very limited, but I think the sponsor had a lot to do with that too. So I think they just couldn't get a makeup sponsor for the year. I think all the makeup sponsors were like, look, we're done. Like, we did it. We were here. We came. We saw. We conquered. No.
Well, I believe. Ooh, I'm trying to think. Should I say this? I don't want to get in trouble.
Don't get in trouble.
But I will say a little bit. What I will say is, the people told me that when certain people departed from the show, so did other things as well.
Yes.
And I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. I would believe that. I definitely believe that. A lot of changes happened when people started going their own.
X-Men Buyer Force wants to know, what's your opinions on Drew disliking your Playboy past, but had a porn celebration issue in Paper Magazine?
Okay, yeah, and that gets me because that celebration thing happened, I think, 2 weeks after the finale. I think I have to address this first before people get a little too butthurt. I think people get really defensive when I say, you know, I've done Playboy, but I'm not a nude model. I haven't done porn. I don't care to have an OnlyFans. I don't care for Hustler. I don't care for things like that. But look, girl, if that's what you do, if you want to show your little kitty cat and you want to do whatever and make money here and there, look, go ahead, boo. Do what the fuck you do. I do not care. I really don't. Make your money however you make your money. For me, it's just not a me thing. And my family history and my past, I can't. Like, I just can't. You know, like, other people's have religious reasons for why they can't do whatever, or they haven't done whatever, or they just couldn't. For past life things with my family and, like, you know, statistical reasons, we'll put it that way, I just couldn't see myself doing that. Showing my body is one thing. Using it for money, to me, is a different thing for myself. But if somebody else wants to do that, look, porn stars is a career. Go ahead, do whatever you do. Like, I really don't care. But I think I got really defensive, you know, after it ended up on TV like that. And I just said, you know, I don't do porn. I don't want to be looked at like that. I don't like people calling me a star. Hey, you guys, can you be quiet?
Please.
Please. I got them to be quiet, guys. But yeah, I just kind of got a little defensive about that when it happened, because so many people were like, you've done porn, you've done this, you've done that. Like, they made it, when they talked about Playboy, they really made it seem like I was a porn star in the past. That's cool for who does that, but I didn't. And like, go ahead, get on, what is it? I don't know. Let's not give publicity to like the porn sites, but you know, the
OnlyFans girl,
the hubs and the XXNXX and all that other stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, search me. You'll never find anything. It just wouldn't happen, you know? Like, it just wouldn't happen.
but you know these top model fans are messy as hell. They're always inboxing me things.
They are so messy. I know they are.
They're very messy, but I enjoy it because I'm messy too. Girl, they sent me that Miss Shanasty had an OnlyFans. I'm not judging her. I'm not judging because
I haven't seen it.
I mean, I didn't subscribe to it either because, you know, that's not my type of judge. You know, I'm not really I'm not really a kitty girl. I'm more of a snake wrangler. So I wasn't subscribing to that.
Kitty girl. I'm dead. I love that. Okay. Yes.
But yes, they told me, and I clicked on the link, and they said that she does OnlyFans and that she's doing really well.
I mean, hey, get your coin, honey. Do what you do. But do what you do. I mean, I'm not even mad at that. Like, I know people who are like the most conservative people who have OnlyFans. You know, like, I know there's like some manipulation with what goes on at OnlyFans. Look, I don't have one, so I can't.
Okay, tell us about your experiences with Drew Elliott.
Right off the bat, he didn't like me. Trying to find the best way to put this. I feel like right off the bat he didn't like me, but it wasn't really like a in my face, like, I just don't like you thing. I think he didn't like me, but he really liked Rio. And then I think he knew that we were both friends. So I think that he really favored Rio. And so when things started obviously not happening so great with Rio and her trajectory and her character narrative and all that other stuff, maybe they don't really know what's going on, like, fully as panel judges. Like, I don't know. But I think he maybe was really shocked about the fact that Rio went home and, like, all this stuff happened the way that it did. And because of, like, it's another thing that bothers me. A lot of people say, like, oh, you took Rio's place. No, I didn't take Rio's place. They eliminated a girl and brought another girl back. It wasn't a matter of this one trades out that one. You could put it that way all day long, but that's not actually what happened. Yeah. But I think it gives the fans like a false narrative of like, oh, you replaced this person and is your worth better than that person's? But I think in a weird way that affected Drew's perspective on me as well. So I think he just like starting off not liking me, continued to not like me, and then at the end hated me. Like I really think that. And I couldn't tell you, like, I never had like one off-putting like instance with him on set, or I didn't have a Shanice moment where I said, you know, my wig is here and it needs to go here. Of all the girls who could have done something like that, I didn't, you know, but like, you know, I didn't have any off-putting moments with him like that though. So I think it was like really weird for me for somebody to like not like you for completely unjustified reasons. But at the same time, like, him not liking me gave me a perspective into the real world. Like, not everybody's gonna like you. Not everyone's gonna hate you. Some people are gonna like you for no reason. Some people are gonna hate you for absolutely no reason. And maybe he's that person. That's okay. Like, it is what it is. I'm not butthurt. That's okay. Like, I'm not tripping. I've been in paper a couple times already. I'm not tripping. Can we start there?
What did you say?
I've been in paper a couple times, so I'm not even tripping.
So, someone from YouTube wants to know, can you tell us more details about Kyla bullying Khrystyana? I remember when J Chat Cycle 17 finished, Lisa, the winner of America's Next Top Model 17, posted on her Instagram about Top Model production, and you, Gina, wrote a comment that Kyla Kyla bullied Khrystyana. So I want to ask the details about this.
Okay, so I didn't actually know about it when it happened, per se. Not right when it happened. I was informed about it after, and I was actually told about it from Khrystyana. And I hate even bringing up another person's like experience with something, because this is her moment and like her thing, you know. And like, I don't know if you guys addressed that comment with her live or whatever, but I just remember it was something that like I think made me feel really sad, because Khrystyana is really sweet, and for her to be the girl that felt like she was bullied by someone who was appointed as the activist, I think is like a weird thing. But Khrystyana actually told me about it, and she didn't really know what to do. She didn't know what to say. She felt weird about it. You know, she didn't really tell me much details, you know, but she said she had a couple moments where she felt directly bullied by that person. And to me, I don't think it's fair, because Khrystyana's a really kind, like, sweet spirit. There's a lot of things she won't talk about because, you know.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Yeah, she's got a really sweet spirit. She's a sweet girl, you know. And so, like, when things like that happen, she may not always be the girl to be like, no, this happened like this, and you need, you know what I mean? Like, she's not that girl. So it's like, I feel bad. And like, maybe that's my fucking downfall in real life, is that I see people get done wrong. And I'm like, look, I don't give a fuck if I have to look like the bad guy. I'm gonna stick my neck out for you. I'm gonna fight somebody for you. I don't care. You need to throw hands. Like, I'm that girl. Like, and that's how I grew up. You know, so like seeing things like that, I think that's why I get defensive. But I couldn't tell you, like, you know, full details and what happened, you know, but I was told it was on multiple occasions, and that it really made Khrystyana not feel okay. And it was during the competition. So that's all I know.
Gotcha.
And it was more so after the winner announcement came, and it was like more, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. So, this fan is taking it back to Drew, and I'm only taking it back because they're mentioning a specific thing, and so what they're mentioning is when you were being interviewed by Drew, he was being very mean and bitchy towards you. He kept calling you a liar. Why was he calling you a liar?
I want to know too, because at the final panel, so that's not the first time he did that. That's multiple times. At that point, it had been multiple times, and it was the last time I was ever going to see him since this happened. So that was the last time he was able to call me a liar. I don't know about any comments on Instagram because I don't watch his page like that, but that was the last time he was able to call me a liar. But I remember at the finale runway, it's me and Kyla standing up there. And there was 2 times, actually, during the course of filming. I believe it was when maybe episode 12, 11 or 12, where they asked us, like, we were standing on panel, and they asked us, you know, why do you want to be America's Next Top Model? Each girl spoke one by one. You guys didn't see this, but one by one, we all had to, like, basically give a little speech on why we wanted to be America's Next Top Model. It came out of the blue, left field. Nobody had to prepare for it or had time to. And this is the craziest thing. I was wearing a choker. I remember this because I was, like, literally getting choked up. I was wearing a choker, and I was emotional. So I remember, like, you know, that gulp comes in your throat when you're like, and I remember choking myself. And right before I talked, I was like, it was that bad. I was so choked up that I almost couldn't talk to the judges. But yeah, so there was 2 times we had to do that. That was one time. And the second time we had to do it was on the final panel. And it was just me and Kyla at this point. And they asked, you know, why do you want to be America's Next Top Model? And at this point, I can't even remember, like, what I said. But as soon as I got done saying whatever I said, I remember Drew looking at me and telling me, no. Right after I said whatever I said, Kyla spoke first. I spoke second. Directly after me speaking, it went into the comments from Law about I wouldn't run into a building to save a child, like a burning building to save a child for my Hermes bag and all this other shit. You know, and then, you know, Drew has all these commentary and they start getting really combative about me. And then Drew just out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, screams at me and tells me I'm a fucking liar. I'm a liar. And I remember, like, I wasn't even talking. I wasn't even doing anything. I wasn't saying anything. And I remember looking at Kyla, and, like, both her and I were looking at each other like, what is going on? Because the judges were being Tyra was chewing gum and eating sunflower seeds at the same time. And I'm not kidding. I'm really not kidding. Tyra Banks was chewing bubblegum and eating sunflower seeds at the same time. Ashley was being her normal, beautiful, humble self. And then we got Law and Drew at both ends of the tables, like going at each other like crazy people. But then Tyra in the middle eating bubblegum and sunflower seeds. It was the craziest thing. And then they had her spit her sunflower seeds out. You know those white containers? The white containers with the little red nicks on them that are at fairs for like hot dogs. You know what I'm talking about? She was spitting out her sunflower seeds in that. And then in between us filming, she'd spit her gum out and then go back into filming. I'm not kidding. But Kyla and I were looking at each other like, what is going on? Like, this is so crazy.
I would pay big money to see Tyra Banks eat sunflower seeds.
There was one time too where she was like, she would do it multiple times too, but she was spitting out. She's like, I bet y'all didn't think Tyra Banks would do something like this. Yo, I was like, I was just like, what is happening? And it was like 3:00 in the morning. It was really late while we were on that stage. Like super, everybody was like delirious, tired, like lights were burning our eyes. Like everybody was like, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, he screamed after that at me and that I was a liar. And I just was like, but why? Like, and at that point I was so over it that I didn't even care to ask no more. I didn't care at all. I didn't want to know why he said it to me. Like, it was been multiple times that he had said it to me, and to me it still didn't make sense. I had never lied about anything. I was to me the most real, honest, raw ass person. Whether it made me look good or bad, it didn't matter. I gave my experience. I gave you guys my life and everything under the, like, I didn't hide anything. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't lie about nothing. You know, I don't know. So it's weird. It's weird. And I still to this day don't know why he called me that. Don't know.
That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Tyra eat these goddamn sunflower seeds. And then I want to see if she can come down to my world and eat a boiled peanut.
A boiled peanut. Yes. Boiled peanuts are good.
And you know what? I think it may be the same thing because people are always shocked that I eat boiled peanuts, but I breaks a boiled peanut down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm weird. Look, I'm super weird. Ever since I was a kid, I eat the peanut shell. I chew it, but I eat the shell, right?
Oh no, I don't swallow the shell now. I'll chew it, but I ain't gonna swallow it.
I might swallow it though. I don't know, but I'll chew it. I love peanut shells. It's so salty and good. Ooh.
Don't swallow me, gobble me, swallow me. No drip down.
Yes.
Okay, so John wants to know. He had a very long question, but I'm going to get to the end. He wants to know. His final question is. He wants to know about Liz leaving the house. She said that she was threatened by one of the girls, and the show did nothing about it. Can you clear anything up about Liz and why she actually left the house?
The only reason why I feel like I can speak on this is because during the scenario, I was very close to Liz. I think after the scenario, the whole experience was so traumatic to her that I think I was a little confused at first, but it was so traumatic for her that she kind of just cut off everyone just to get rid of the situation and keep it as far away from us. For her, I think for her own mental psyche and just like growing and expanding as a person is the big reason why Liz doesn't come up with Top Model very much. Like, it's kind of like, what happened? Like, people really want to know. But during the time, I remember it being a big issue for me because I was really close to her. And like, we all know she's got that wild, fun, little left field kind of personality, but like, that's what makes Liz Liz. Like, she was fun to me. Like, I love Liz. Like, as crazy as she was and like random, like, that's what made her like her. You know, and like, I think a lot of people didn't like the unexpectedness from her right away in a competition. So like other girls, I think it was just like abrasive, I think, to have somebody so unexpected. But for me, it was kind of fun because like the whole experience for me was very expected. I knew how they were going to do eliminations. I knew how this was going to go. So to have a Liz, I'm like, yeah, you're like a wild card. I like you, you know? But yeah, she kind of dealt with a situation with another contestant, and I don't want to say the person's name just because I don't want her. I know she goes through her own personal stuff too, and I try to like, I'm very protective and like sensitive when it comes to the girls. No matter, I won't name drop it again. You can have somebody say on TV, I hate that bitch, and be referring to me, or it doesn't matter. I still defend you the same in real life. I'm protective about everybody and like the whole experience, you know, like I don't know. So it's weird. But yeah, I'm very protective over Liz specifically. And I do think that she was wrongfully pushed out of the competition. I'll put it that way. I would call it bullying. And if I had it my way, she'd have stayed and the other person would have left much sooner than they chose to. But yes, somebody, so to me, so wrongfully bullied the girl to make her feel, from my understanding, her life was threatened in that house. And when you take a step back, think about like everybody in the comments right now, everybody take a step back and pretend like you're the one going on competing on America's Next Top Model and you have 14 other random girls you have to live with, right? But you know that they didn't really do a background check on you, and like you might have be a little crazy a little bit, or you might respond to something in a way that like they're not expecting, but like you're moving into a house with 14 strangers.
You don't know what's going on.
You don't know how the hell someone's going to respond with what, how sensitive they are with this, what kind of traumas they face. Like, we didn't know. They just threw us all in a house together. You have to admit that, like, there's going to be two people who absolutely hate each other. That's just what's going to happen, you know? And, like, I don't think that necessarily someone hated her, but I do think somebody severely disliked her to the point where they did try to push her out of the competition and based off of feeling inferiority. Not that it was justified, but just because Liz is a big personality. And
Brendi K.
I'm not, yeah. Yeah. And I get defensive about even dropping her name because I was really close to Brendi at the beginning too. You know, the competition got to everybody, and Brendi wasn't like that when the competition first started. She wasn't a volatile girl going into it. She was very sweet, very ready to compete and do things. And there's things they did, for instance, like with me, shave her fucking head off and call her masculine and tell her that she's coming across like a man. Like, you think those things don't affect women who don't want to be like, you know what I mean? And then like expect them not to be reactive in their real life with who's around them, you know? And I'm not justifying what she did to the other girl, but you can't tell me what y'all are doing to her is going to have no effects and expect her to just have her head screwed on straight and just be normal the whole time. You know what I mean? Plus putting, yeah, like it's sad. But I get defensive for both people. But I do really feel like, you know, Brendi was in a space where she was fighting her own demons in the scenario. And unfortunately, Liz was a susceptible target at the time. And it kind of just happened that way. You know, and it makes me feel bad because I really feel like Liz could have like been like one of the final girls. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I really feel like I know she would have.
If Liz watches this, please know that you're okay with Oliver Twixt, because I absolutely loved everything about Liz crazy ass. Like, I really loved her.
She's cool. Like, she's actually cool. I'm not even gonna lie. She blocked me on Instagram. So if you're watching, Liz, I need you to unblock me because why?
Why she blocked you?
I think she blocked everybody just for like the reasons of like blocking out the comments and the tags and stuff like that, which I get it. I understand it. I don't even hold that against her. I get it, you know, but she really has so much potential, like, and not even just potential. The bitch is there. Like, she's there. Like, she's great. She's such a good model, and her personality is like the icing on the cake. But her and Khrystyana both at the beginning for me were like, I was like, I like you guys.
I hear y'all talk about top model. I couldn't have lasted one day in the house, because you know what would have been my solution to it all? My solution would have been, I would have warned you once, maybe twice. Once, maybe twice. After that, Mama's what you want to do, because you're threatening to get slapped right now.
Yeah, I think that
production, cast, whoever, what is it that you want to do? Because I've already discussed this with you once, maybe twice already. Anything after that to me is sheer willing compliance of you wanting to fuck with me. And then after that, it's either I'm going to curse you the dog fuck out,
You are wanting to get that ass beat.
Or I'm going to connect my finger to your throat. Yes! Y'all can't be watching me no more. Okay, let me keep going. Yes, I will be on Ready to Leash the Chemical X. Because, like, you're not about to bother me. Because I don't bother anybody, so don't come bother me. Yes.
I really think in our experience, like, so much of it was so, like, there were so many little things. Like, they put, like, little firecracker poppers in, like, little situations. The producers were doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes. Like, look, girls would get eliminated. This is how shady they were, you guys. Girls would get eliminated, right? And they would get eliminated from the judging panel and then leave. And then we'd go home 3 hours later and never see this girl again, right? Her stuff's gone. The room, her bed is empty. All the stuff is gone. Usually girls, because we just have to up and say goodbye, everybody takes time to write everybody a note, not individually, or write like a house note or one-by-one notes if you really want to. Everybody wrote a goodbye note. There were certain...
Oh, no. No, you're not about to do it. Who is it, y'all? Is it me or is it Miss Gina's Wi-Fi? Who is it? Who is it? Is it me or is it Miss Gina's Wi-Fi? Somebody talk to me. Is it me? Is it me, y'all? It's not me, is it? Is it me? Is it me? It's not me? Oh, it's Miss Gina. Tyra, you playing with my Wi-Fi, girl? Now, don't come over here bothering me because I'm not going to be like the other girl's mama, okay? No, I'm just playing. Tyra, we bind you. We bind you from doing harm to yourself and harm to others in this Wi-Fi. We bind you, Tyra, from doing harm to yourself, harm to others in this Wi-Fi. We bind you, Tyra, from doing harm to yourself and others in this Wi-Fi. I'm going to wait. I'm going to use the bathroom. So you guys, like, mingle amongst each other down. You guys, exchange information. We're all family here. You guys mix and mingle. I'm going to use the bathroom. Hopefully Miss Gina comes back. And then we can add her back in. And then hopefully by the time, yeah. Y'all mix and mingle. Y'all need each other. Girl, we having a good time tonight. I hope some bitches get set free tonight. Is Gina back? I'm coming. Is Gina back? Is Gina back? Hey, is Gina back? Oh, is Gina back? Oh, is Gina back, y'all? Where's she at? Let's see. Where's Gina? What happened? What happened to Gina? What happened to Gina? Now Gina? No. I wonder if her phone died. I think part of her phone probably died, y'all. Yes, I spent all my life on a search to find some Trey who could bust so deep in me. In my spare time, I just remix songs to make them so uncomfortably nasty. I think her phone died. No, Gina. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I have her number on this. Let me see if I can call her. Yeah, I'm about to call her right now, y'all. Y'all give me a second. Give me a second. Yeah, it went straight to voicemail. I think her phone died. I spent all my life on a search to find a Trey who could bust so deep in me. and bring that thing and bring me to my knees. But when I looked around, another trade has knocked me down. Okay, y'all, we're gonna try it one last time. Gina, girl, now you supposed to charge that phone up. I think it's dead. Hold on. I'm like, what? Yeah, it's dead. All right, y'all. Well, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna wait. It's currently 9:36. I'll wait until 9:40 to see if she comes back online. If not, I'm going to call it a night, and then her and I can reschedule a time where we can give you guys a part two, which I think is good. I think, I kind of felt like in the beginning it was going to be very emotional because I can sense from Jean that, this thing is still a thing for her, which is why, I just felt the need to tell her, like, Mama, hold your head up. Fuck these bitches. Like, everybody that's out there watching all of this stuff, don't let nobody know that they got that much power over you. Don't let nobody have that much power over you. And I strongly feel like God puts all of us, whoever your God is, I know it's different beliefs in it, but I feel like our God, whoever your God is, puts us in situations so that we can learn and that we can be better and that we are prepared for the real test at hand. And Gina's God put her in that situation, this top model realm, because there's a bigger test, there's a bigger mission at hand, and she needed to go through this to learn certain things so that she can get through what is most important the right way. I just don't like, it always bothers me when people just don't treat people right. People just don't treat people right. There's no need to mistreat people in this world. Ain't no need. Ain't no need. If you can't treat them right, don't treat them at all. If you can't treat them right, don't treat them at all. It's 9:37. Give it to 9:40 for Miss Gina. Plug that phone up, girl. You guys said it's hard. I know, and like Angelica Torres, how you doing, baby? And I just saw Angelica Torres say, trauma. Everybody responds different to trauma. Some of us, people like me, when things happen to me, I automatically think, how can I keep myself afloat right now? How can I not allow this to take me under? And to be quite honest and sensitive with you guys, I do deal with the byproduct of that, where I did not experience the emotion and I did not experience the things. And then many years later, I'm now experiencing it. And it's like, whoa, it's taking me down. So what I can say from my young adult life is that you have to experience it. You have to go through it, but you can't let it consume you. You have to find some sort of way to allow those things to power you to move forward, because there is a moving forward. You can't waddle in that stuff. I'ma spank you.
I'm so sorry. My phone died. It was hooked up to the charger and everything. I really don't know what happened.
How do you get the camera so close to your face like that so fast?
I don't know. I'm just right here. I don't know.
You hit something.
No, I feel like you're like, how do you have your phone set up? Are you on a desk or are you on a computer?
Oh, no. So I have my light, and I just put it inside of my light.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, really? But I feel like you were back here, and then it's just
Look, I'm gonna give you all my secret sauce right now. I'm gonna turn it around.
Okay.
So my ring light is here, and I put my phone in here, but I'm this far away from my phone. You see all the chins.
I gotcha.
But yeah, I'm maybe 2 feet away from my phone, max. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry guys, my phone died. It's my fault. I should have known.
You ready to get this thing done, Gina?
Yeah, it's on the charger now. We're good. Let's go.
Of course, questions about you and Rio, which you've already talked about. So quickly, Raymond is asking, Gina, how do you feel upon seeing Rio's reaction towards you potentially coming back inside of the house? Did you feel betrayed by her? I liked Rio. Rio was
not really like, not really in the moment, because I didn't really know that was happening. Like, all that stuff was going on behind the scenes. It was stuff they were putting in her head and making her like act all crazy toward me. I really didn't know what was going on. I was just there to compete. I didn't realize it. The one time I realized it was when like I was already sleeping, and she like came downstairs and grabbed all her stuff out of the bed and like was trying to be quiet while I was sleeping. And like we shared a bed, and I was like, what are you doing? She was like, oh, I'm just going upstairs, and like trying to act like it was normal to me. But then like when I watched TV back, and I remember her being in her swimsuit when she grabbed the stuff. So when I watched TV back, like I'm like, damn, girl. But at the same time, it's high to the competition and everything. So it is what it is. I don't know. I don't ever suggest like trying to make lifelong lasting relationships while you're in a competitive reality TV show. You can do all that stuff after. It's not to say that like you can't gain relationships from it, but I don't think that's the best place to try to make a friend when you're competing against each other.
right.
Because like her and I genuinely were friends, are friends, still are friends, like, but it put different things in your, you know, it made it more complicated than it needed to be.
I was a real fan. Like, you know, I really didn't care for what they tried to do to Mother towards the end of the thing. I really didn't care for what they tried to do with a lot of y'all.
Yeah.
But I was a big Rio fan. I liked her a lot. Like, I liked okay.
Oh, hold on. Let's go back, because they're like leaving notes for the house when we got eliminated. They want me to go back to what I was saying.
Okay, yeah.
About production. Okay, yeah. So that's how evil they are, guys. We could write each other a note and be like, miss you guys, like, you know, stop fighting, everybody get along, love each other, like, who cares about whatever. Like, we would all write these notes to each other, set them somewhere, and production would go take them off the shelf and go hide them, so that when we all came back, like, not for everybody, for specific people, they didn't share their notes with the house to make them think that they left being bitter or mad, which most girls weren't. Like, nobody really went home anyway. But yeah, like, that's how in depth they go with like altering what really happens in real life. So yeah, like for instance, Aaron's note was one of them. Aaron left us like a really sweet like mommy note, and they took her note, and we didn't find Aaron's note for 4 days or 5 days, and then randomly it ended up on our kitchen counter, and we were like, where we make coffee every single day, multiple times a day, and it was just sitting there, and we were like, we would have saw this, but no. Yeah.
I want to talk about Khrystyana. And I want to talk about your experience with her in the house, and then how she got presented to the world. Now, let me just say, do I understand where people could deem Khrystyana prickly? Yes, I do. But I also, in my opinion, feel like they kept fucking with her. Because, yes, Mama's had a very distinct personality, but I don't think she meant any harm by it, because that's just who she was. And I do feel like in the moments where people were trying to, in my terms, test her pussy and say certain things towards her, her being the age she was and having the experience she had, she's like, bitch, who the fuck is y'all talking? Who is y'all talking to?
Yeah.
I'm not some young girl just coming in here and doing this for the first time. Like, I've done this. And I felt like a lot of her responses were in response to people trying to little girl her.
I agree. I remember having this conversation exactly with Khrystyana while it was all going on. And oddly enough, Khrystyana was in the conversation too when it happened, but we were talking about how it was kind of weird how they would treat the girls who had actual real life working experience in the industry versus girls who were just there because they were interested and wanted to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And Khrystyana was somebody who, like, the girl knows what the hell she's doing. Like, she has worked. When she said, I've shot with Ellen Von Unworth and all those other little things. She's not lying. Like, she's not lying. The girl has worked her ass off and still is to this day. So I think it, like, for girls like her, I have to put myself in that category. A Khrystyana. When anybody challenges you the way that she was challenged, when you have worked your ass off to get to where you're at and you're just trying to further that and people are just trying to like degrade everything you've done, what are you going to do? You're going to be defensive. So it's like, I can't fully shade her for like what happened. You know, there's certain moments where like personal conversations I've had with her where like sometimes I think Khrystyana's a sweet girl. Like very, very sweet, but she has moments where I think sometimes she doesn't know how she's speaking and how she's saying things and her intentions while she's saying it. I don't think she's wrong in what she's saying. It's the tone behind it more so. It's just her tone. Nothing else is wrong besides the tone. And I had personal things with her that I was like, girl, like, why are you talking to me crazy? Like, look, scratch everything. Let's just start over. Talk. You know, and like get to the point where we both understand each other. Khrystyana and I went through like very hard things to get to the point of understanding each other. But once I understood her and I got it, you know? So it was like looking back on, and I didn't understand her until after the show was already over. Months, a year after, like I didn't know. So like I felt bad because when I looked back on it, I was like, damn, because I kind of did see her the same way the judges saw her. And like, but there's not a lot of time to get to know people there either. So it's really easy to pass judgment on people who it's not justified for. But I can firmly say from experience, she is not the girl you guys saw on TV. Not at all. Yeah.
You know another girl who I felt like they gave a very hard time to, and I'm so sorry I cannot remember her name, but she was, I believe she was Middle Eastern.
Sandra? Mm-hmm.
I felt like they gave Sandra such a hard time. And I'm like, are we looking at the same photos? Like, are we looking at the same photos? What say you?
Huh?
What say you?
I mean, I don't know. Like, for me, you go into Top, like, you can't tell me that you didn't know about Top Model before you got there. It's been around forever. So for me, it was just kind of weird for someone to go in completely blinded, not having any experience with, or trying to, whether you shop for Gucci, Versace, YSL, this, that, and the other thing, it doesn't matter. Attempting to give that high fashion look and building a portfolio and all these other things. Like, to me, it has always baffled me. I'm not even gonna lie, Sandra aside, it has always baffled me looking at Top Model and seeing the girls at auditions who are like, yeah, no, I'm here because of a dare. No, I'm here because I just didn't know if I liked it. You know what I mean? Or like, I thought maybe, and then like halfway through the audition, they're like, no, it's not for me. And in the middle of Tyra talking to them, they just turn around and walk away. Like, you know what I'm talking about. But it's like, you can't go into situations like this and not know. That's like going to audition for American Idol and having no idea that you have to sing. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, so to me, like, looking at stuff like that is a little like, I get being new too, but there's ways to start off being new rather than going on a reality TV show where you're competing against girls who've already had experience. And I think that's where, and not to say she didn't deserve it, I would never ever say someone didn't deserve to be on the show, which I think is a big fuck up that a lot of girls do, is saying that someone else doesn't deserve to be there with you competing, because then I think that like throws a loop like for like, how did you get here? And like, none of us have conventional ways for being here.
Right.
So like, I just want to point that out. I would never say someone doesn't deserve to like do something. I just think there's logic behind doing a lot of the things we do on competitive shows. And there wasn't a lot of logic with Sandra. Like, you have a big fan base, you have a following, you have a social media like presence already. Like, I mean, I did too, don't get me wrong, but like, I wasn't modeling. I wasn't doing high fashion modeling. The girls got everything down to money and location behind like being able to make those things happen. So to me, it was kind of weird to like throw yourself into such a competitive scenario without the experience, because then you're kind of signing up for embarrassment in a weird way. Like, not that it's fair, it doesn't matter. Like, it happening doesn't justify it happening. You know what I mean? Like, it's not to say it was fair if it did happen, but I agree with you. But at the same time, like, I think everyone kind of should have known a little bit before they went there.
I got you.
I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody's probably going to come for me after saying that. But
what I told you earlier.
I don't give a fuck.
How did you feel about that week when Tyra gave 7 people first call out? I said, nah, girl. Was it 7? It was a lot. It was more than 1.
Yeah, I think it was 7. Was it 7 girls? I don't know how many. That was a lot, though. How did I feel about it?
Yeah.
My phone's trying to be slick. Cut off on me.
Oh, no, we ain't finna do this again.
We are not doing this again, I promise. Oh, no, guys. I will run so quick. Can you give me like 30 seconds?
Run. I'll just sing them a song.
I'll be right back. Sing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. What song can I sing? Do you guys know Golden Eye by Jeana Turner from like one of those James Bond movies? Over the summer, was it last year? No, it was last year around this time. T.S. Madison, you guys know T.S. Madison, my gay mother, big LGBT pop culture icon in the world. Look her up if you don't know who she is. But her and I were on a road trip to Florida for her birthday, and she was just singing. T.S. Madison's always showing me something. She's always a movie or I should know. She like, girl, you need to put this in your gay man purse, you know, because they don't teach the young. Gotta know the thing. And one time she just told me all about like these James Bond songs, and I fell in love with Golden Eye by Tina Turner. I fell in love with Goldfinger by Shirley Bassey. And then what's the one that Gladys Knight did? License to Kill. I just fell in love with so many James Bond songs. I was about to sing Goldfinger. You saved them.
I'm back.
Do you know Goldfinger by Shirley Bassey from the James Bond movie?
I don't. Maybe by song, maybe not by name. Maybe by song.
I should sing Shake Your Body. I don't care. Shake Your Body was a hit to me. It was a hit to me.
Shake your body, body. Move your body,
I said, girl, Tyra, you stop this foolishness.
body.
Okay. So, how was Makeover Day for you? This is Thickums Part 2. That's funny. How was Makeover Day for you? And do you think Top Model exploited your alopecia for a storyline?
So Makeover Day for me was a roller coaster. I went from being like, oh my God, wow. Like, this is coming from something, like, I am a hairstylist. I went to cosmetology school. You need your brows waxed. You need your nails laid. You need a full set of acrylics. You need haircut, colored, men's barbering, all that. Call me. I can do all that. But, and create wigs too. But for me, I just, you know, a lot of people don't know this because they haven't seen it, but like my natural hair texture is a 4C. My hair is, let's be real, my hair is very nappy. I'm mixed with a lot of things, but if there's one thing that took on my Black culture, it was my hair. Minus the fact that it's blonde, so in a weird way, I look like I have albinism. When I was a kid, I got that a lot. And doctors actually told my mom I was a certain percentage away from being born with albinism, actually. So I guess that maybe would explain a lot of lack of pigmentation and a lot of things that go on with me, but my hair holds a lot of like my Black culture. So for me, that was like the one hair texture. I lost my hair when I was 8 or 9. So I haven't been able to recreate my own hair texture in a wig forever. Like trying to get natural wigs. They exist, don't get me wrong, but the color is what didn't happen for me. So like,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you know about Dina Mushia?
I just found Mushia last night, actually.
So everyone knows that I tell her all the time, this isn't my real hair. This is her hair.
Okay. I would never guess
this
that.
is her hair, and it matches my 4C. So, and she has, Mushia, you need to cut me a check, girl. She has different colors. She has gray, of course. She has blonde. She has a bunch of colors. She has blonde is the point I'm trying to make. And I wish I could show you. But it comes like in a coiffed, and you basically just pull it apart and do whatever you want to do with it.
That's good to know. I'm gonna have to reach out to her. I literally just came across her Instagram last night, and I was like, oh, I might have to reach out. I might have to. But yeah, it's been really hard, like even creating wigs for me to mimic something that was my own natural hair texture. And plus, it's been so far detached from me with years that I also don't know. I don't remember what it's like to really have my own hair. So when they told me, like, let me go back and give a little backstory. The way you guys saw it on TV was, hey, Liberty, you voted red, you're going red. Kyla, I don't know what they said, brown, and I think adding tracks. Rio, buzzed shave and going blonde or whatever. And they waited for me for last. Like, I knew I was going to be their, like, kicker. I knew something was up with the makeovers with me. And as soon as they got to me, I remember, like, just staring at the TV, and I'm just like, and we're sitting in our living room at our house, like, watching her tell us what our makeovers were, which is not normal, like, in general for top models. It's not very normal to know your makeover before it happens. And so I'm, like, watching, like, a little kid in a candy store. I'm just, like, excited. And what I saw in the moment, regardless of what you guys saw, what I see is, Gina, we're going to take you back to the natural you. And this, I quote you word for word. Gina, we are going to take you back to the natural you and give you your hair from childhood. I had a whole lot of hair as a kid. A lot of hair. A lot. Like crazy mixed lion's mane girl hair. A lot of hair. And so for me, that's why I cried. That's why I got emotional on the floor, because I was like, damn, like if there's anyone that can give me that, it's top model. And I've seen them do crazy makeovers with girls from, you know, and I was like, yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. So I'm excited. I get up and like, get ready, go to the salon. I got my ugly little wig on. And then we get there and they like Law's standing in front of me and everybody, but like, we're all standing there and he tells Cora, you know, you get the Cora, what's Cora? Nothing. You're perfect, basically. And then they were like, and Gina, you know how we said we were going to give you, what did he say? You know how we said we were going to give you a wig? And he was like, psych. He literally went psych. And then he pulls a Bic. I think it was a Bic. Maybe he faked like he had it. I don't really remember exactly, but he did the action of pulling out a razor and said he was going to Bic my head like this. And I was like, Bic? Because I've never heard Bic before. So I was just like, I was confused. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, we're shaving your head. He's like, you're not getting a wig. We're shaving your head. And I was just like, and at first, like for me, it took a minute to like register what was really happening, because they didn't give me a chance to like process anything. It was all in front of other people, and like, oh, this shit's embarrassing. Like, put it this way, I just signed with a new modeling agency, and it's 20 feet from this salon. So when I went on my casting the other day and I pulled up my GPS, I was like, oh no. I was like, I have to walk in and slay some words for a couple people, because I'm really not happy about this. And these are the people who've given Miley their this and Miley their that. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm embracing it. It's still here. Don't get me wrong. But the process of getting to this, I think, was fucked up. And I don't think it needed to happen that way. But the manipulation between pulling a razor out and being like, psych, we're going to Bic you. Like, I just think it's weird. And another thing I want to point out, too, and I don't know how much truth and validity there is to this, but since I did my expose, I've seen a lot of like comments regarding the statement of how they manipulated my story. Because for me, I probably couldn't care less about most anything. Running into a building to save burning kids, or kids burning in a building, and you know, all this other little fake narrative stuff they had for me. I really couldn't care less about any of that. I think I care more so about my story with my hair and the people who identify with that, because that's been such a lasting effect on my life and like how I've grown, that the people who have what I have, literally, I think I identify with them the most. And if there's one thing they manipulated the most, it was that. So I think it kind of like gave a false narrative for the people who were supposed to look up to me too. And that doesn't feel good when you're like, you know what I mean? When you're put in a position to like uplift a community and like the story that they think is true isn't even true. Like, how do you even, you know? So like for me, that was like a really weird like thing. And that's why I got so mad. I was like, this is something I've dealt with my whole life, like years and years and years and years before top model was even a thing. Like, I faced this, you know, and like somebody said they exploited you. Yeah, like in reality they did. And I don't think it was fair. you know, and that happened within maybe like a week of being there. So it was like right away, it started off with just this like negative connotation. And I tried so hard to just like be positive and like stick it out. And I remember when I was in the salon, sitting in the chair, I remember I was crying profusely about it. And I remember sitting there like bouncing my legs up and down on this chair, like with nobody around me, no cameras or anything. And I remember just like thinking to myself, like, damn, do I really want to go through this right now and let them do this to me? Or do I just want to go home? You know, and like that was the first time that I genuinely felt like I wanted to go home, not give up. I wanted to go home. Yeah. It wasn't a matter of giving up, because the fight was never going to be over no matter what. Even after I went home, I'm still going to be a model. Like, trust me, that's the goal. You know, it's not a matter of giving up, but you know, how much can you sacrifice yourself to keep on uplifting other people when like no one built you up in the first fucking place? So how do you expect me to keep on lifting up these people when no one put me there to even know how to do it for myself? Like, that's hard. And I remember sitting there thinking through all that and crying. Like, Law came up to me and like was just like, you know, like he apologized for like how he said stuff and his demeanor toward me for a couple other things, and it just like confused me. And then I just couldn't stop crying because I was mad. Like, and this is one thing people don't know about me. I think most people cry when they're sad, or cry when like their feelings are hurt, or they're really emotional or distraught about a lot of things. I'm not like that. I cry when I'm pissed. I cry when I'm mad. I'm quiet when I'm sad. I don't really talk much when I'm sad at all. I'm kind of MIA. I'm not really there. But I cry when I'm mad because there's so much rage and anger build up inside me that like, if I responded and reacted the way that I truly wanted to, I'm your crazy. And I don't want to be that, because I don't feel like my reactions are justified to be labeled as crazy all the time. Like, that's not it, you know? But like a lot of the times people see, like, I think a lot of people said, God, you're emotional. Stop crying. Stop crying. You cry too much. You do this too much. You do that too much. And it's like, now with me telling you that I cry when I'm mad, when you look back on the show, you will realize how much of that experience I was just pissed about. I wasn't happy. I was miserable. I wasn't sad. I was mad. Like, I was pissed. I was literally irate. Like, I wasn't happy, you know? And I'm sitting there still trying to fight and like show face and do the shit for all these other people, right, that they told me. And I remember sitting in the chair crying, and Ken Mock comes out of the corner. The first time I ever spoke to Ken. And he comes out of the corner of the salon. He literally told all the cameras to back off and, you know, let me, like, just wanted to talk to me for a minute. And he was like, you know, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. You know, I was like, I just don't like this. Like, it just feels like very, like, I don't know. I just felt like I was like targeted in a weird way. And he was like, look, he's like, I know this is a lot for you, but please know, you know, that you're doing this for other people. And there's so many other people out there in the world who will look up to you for this. And it's like, yeah, I get that. But if it defeats me in the process, what's the point? You know, like, all that stuff matters. And I think that they forgot about that.
All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna speak to that. But
it's just hard because Top Model has this like weird knack for, you know, the Nile DeMarcos and the Winnie Harlows and like, you know, the Mercedes, like the girls, like the people who have lupus and are deaf and vitiligo and all these other things, and they pick and choose the people that they want to put on these pedestals for being the crusaders, that, you know, but not all the time do they do the work to build that person up to maintain it. And I just don't think it's fair. I think it does more damage than it does good. You know, like there's some people that I know, I won't name drop, but there's some people that I know from Top Model from a really long time ago who have like really weird experiences with Top Model where like either they were berated on their weight for being too skinny, or, you know, little things. And like, these are girls who live in a trailer in Florida and they're bipolar, manic depressive, and like aren't social, and like have developed so many social disorders because of that experience, and they never got back to being normal. And that worries me. Like, I really do worry. And that was a big reason why like I chose to come out and speak and say what I said, no matter how like it could have hurt me. I could have got hit with a $5.4 million lawsuit. I could have, you guys. I really could have. But I want you guys to know that, like, I risked all of that shit just to be able to tell my truth. And it wasn't just for me. It was for everybody else, too. You know, like, I'll take that blame. Like, I don't care. So.
Proud.
Yeah.
So, like,
but it does hurt a lot when people, like, try to deem you a bad person. And, like, everybody's got their faults, you know. Not everybody's perfect. But I really tried to do my best, like, with everything.
And Gina, I'm gonna just keep saying it. I just hope you know what you doing that started. Like,
I know.
like I'm not.
It started a war, and I didn't mean to.
No, please don't say that. Please don't say that. I'm not gonna say any names, but you guys don't know how many girls and now guys that I've interviewed, and once they're done, they call me and they say, Oliver, thank you so much for that. And I'm not saying it's something that I did. I'm saying all of this, talking about Top Model, talking about the experiences, Jay's chats, Twitch exclusives, everybody going live, just talking about it. It started with you bearing your heart and soul about your experience and showing us the emotions and what it did to you. And I'm letting you know that you doing that has led to so many people being healed and so many people being able to find the words and find the phrases to place their feelings and work through it. I want you to walk around with your head held high because you have done amazing work that a lot of people are benefiting from.
That makes me feel better.
Like, on top of, fuck them.
I know.
Okay, let's talk about Law Roach. So this person says, for one judging, Law didn't wear a wig and Drew showed his vitiligo. It said that they were inspired by your makeover earlier in that episode. Was that true? Also, do you remember what Law said to you during your makeover that wasn't shown? He seemed some understanding, which you've already talked about. But I want you to take this time to answer that question about whether or not them de-wigging and de-makeuping, I think Drew took off his makeup. I think that's what it was. Was that really for you and inspired by you? And I also want you to go into your experiences and your opinions on Law.
Okay, we'll start with them de-wigging and no makeup during panel after makeovers. I don't think necessarily it was for me, but at the same time, it didn't need to be for me. I think that's being selfish in that scenario of every moment regarding someone showing something that they hide needs to be attributed to me. So I don't want to say that, like, it should have been all for me, and it wasn't. However, they worded it that way, didn't they? Yes. So to me, I just felt like it was a little weird where, how do you put that weight on me when, number one, if we want to start with, who was the first person that came out? It was Law, right? I think Law. De-wigging, I'm not the first girl in Top Model history to take her wig off. I might be the first one to take the wig off and then shave with a razor, yeah. But, like, taking a wig off and, surprise, what's underneath? I'm not the first girl. So for me, it was a kind of a reach to use my scenario as that. When he didn't come out completely bald, clean shaven the way that I did, if there was that comparison, I could have thought about it differently. If the reason maybe why Law hid his hair underneath or wore wigs was just because he had alopecia or patchiness or whatever, maybe it would have been a little bit different. But there's plenty of other Top Model history that could have been your inducing to you doing that. And then to Drew. I love when you hard though, and I'm telling you, that moment had nothing to do with me. Everybody, like, genuinely, everybody deserves to have their moment and, like, showing who they are and, like, what they have to hide. But, like, he was on a show a year before, so it's like this is now year 2 that you've been able to show your truth and whatever you used. My situation was convenient for you, is the way that I look at that. you can't use me as a reason why you embrace your vitiligo. I don't have vitiligo, but a past top model girl does, is a supermodel now. But where's her credit? Where's that? You know, me taking a wig off shouldn't deem you to like wipe your face. You know, like, and I'm not saying that in a mean way, because I feel like people are like, oh my God, you just said something crazy. Like, no, it's just there's no logic in me being the person that made you feel that way. And I understand that, like, your difference isn't what makes the difference, isn't everybody just like you prevalent. Everybody has their own differences, and you can find, like, you know what I mean? You can find beauty in everything just from seeing somebody who's different than you even. I just don't feel like that scenario was right. And I think you can kind of see it on my face too when you're looking at panel and like the judges come out. And like for me, I get really tense. Like my body tenses up when I feel uncomfortable and I'm on a pedestal, like on a platform, and know how to, like, in someone's display. And I remember looking back on it and being like, damn, I look so uncomfortable. Like I just look so tense and weird. And it's because they're using a moment where they're trying to embrace me and then flipping it back to the judges. And it's like, hold on, wait a minute. Number one, you manipulated the whole situation. You didn't even give me a moment to even thrive in this, let alone get used to it. And now you want to flip it back to your judges. You know what I mean? So it's like a weird, like, I get it and everybody deserves their moment, but like, I don't know. There's just weird things. Like, I wish I could like explain it better. Yeah, it wasn't authentic, is the best way I could say it. Even down to like sitting in the salon. I think you guys see the moment where I tell Law, you know, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And for me, I tell people don't cry because I'm really emotional. When I see someone crying, I cry because I'm mad that they're crying. I get defensive about people crying. And so he started crying, and I just remember being like, no, don't cry, don't cry. But he was grabbing my hands, and he wasn't crying, though. He went and, like, sniffled, and I'm, like, actually kind of teary. Better. But he was, like, and, like, sniffled and, like, was, like, holding my hands across from me. And I remember him going like this, but with absolutely no wetness in his eyes whatsoever. And I remember looking at him, and that's why I said don't cry. Like, don't fake this. Don't make this moment something that it doesn't need to be. Like, it was fake to me. It was really fake. I'm not kidding. It was so fake. He never cried. Like, and I feel bad saying that because I've built a relationship with Law even outside the show, as hot and cold as it may be. We'll call it that. I had built a relationship with Law outside of the show, so like for me it was weird. Like at that moment I had started building a relationship with him, but it was just kind of weird to like see somebody do that in front of me like that.
And you know, it's so bad because, okay, let me tell you, before I started talking to you about Cycle 24, I absolutely love Cycle 24. I love the judges, and that was my first time ever seeing Law Roach. I fell in love with him. Like I fell in love. I thought he was funny. I thought he was stylish. I gagged when he took the wig off because I thought it was his hair. You know, I was like, okay, you know, mama's dresses. You know, she's all the things. And you know, and to be honest, I still can't have an opinion about it because I've never met him. I'm only hearing, you know, your story about him. But yeah, it's disappointing to me slightly that was your experience of him. And what I will say is, while I'm not gonna say I agree with you, I do recognize that for Cycle 24, I can tell from a production standpoint, there was an emphasis placed on telling people stories, bringing up issues surrounding body imagery, I may pronounce it wrong, body dysmorphia, dealing with age, dealing with race, dealing with weight, dealing with being bullied, dealing with being sexual abuse. I could tell that there was a lot more emphasis placed on personal issues. So I'm saying I probably wouldn't be shocked if a producer didn't give someone a beat and be like, hey, X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
All right.
That's simple.
Okay. So, you know, if you mess up like all my questions because you like answer them without even knowing.
I know I do. And that's like my biggest, I think that's my biggest mess up, like being
I'll
where
talk.
I'm at now. Every time I do interviews, I always answer your questions before you get to it, and then it makes everybody like frazzled.
Oh no, not frazzled. I listen. I love when y'all girls come in here and just talk because that means
I become really good at like reading your guys' minds, I think.
Oh, I know what I want to talk about. Let's talk about this cell phone. The cell phone, the cell phone, the cell phone. Now, when I talked to Khrystyana, it took her 5 hours to tell me, but I was finally able to pull it out of her that she believed it was Brendi K who had the cell phone. And now that I have Miss Motormouth from the South, Gina here, I want her to say, Gina, who had the cell phone?
Oh no.
Who had it? Who had it?
Oh my God. It's not because I don't want to tell you. It's not because I don't want to. I'm just dying because I remember watching Khrystyana like fight herself. It was like she was a morphing dragon trying to like get out.
Hey, you saw me locked in on her. I locked in on her. I was like, you are not getting out of this.
Oh my God. Yes. No, it's not because I won't say. I think I might have already said too, but okay. So I don't know for a fact. No one knows for a fact. So I'm gonna let you settle with that so that every other girl you asked from my season, none of us know who had the phone. None of us know if a phone really existed. But all of us were told that there was a phone. So it was just weird. But the only reason why I think people think that it might have been Brendi who had the phone. Look, if I had the phone, y'all would have had all kinds of footage, behind the scenes shit production was doing. I would have dropped all kinds of videos by now. If I was the one with the phone, y'all would have known the whole in and out of everything. I promise. But it wasn't me. But no, the only reason why everybody thinks it was Brendi was because so when we do when we first start the season, when it's like, 30 something girls or 40 something girls at the beginning and we're all meeting the judges for the first time, they basically do the best thing I can compare it to after watching shows like 60 Days In and like Women Behind Bars and stuff like that. I hate to compare Top Model to shit like that. I really do. But the truth is you go through an intake process like you would if you were going to jail or prison. And I'm not kidding. And they do that because they don't want you to have your phone or any other communications that expand outside of the current situation. So for instance, for me, they took my keys, they took my house keys, they took my cell phone, they took everybody's cell phone, house keys, I had pepper spray, they took my pepper spray even, which, no, you don't need it in a scenario like that, but if one of these 18 girls goes fucking buck wild, I can't say I'm not gonna spray her in the fucking face. Why you have to take my pepper spray? Like, that's self-defense. That's protective. They take everything. They literally take everything from you to even be able to defend yourself if you need it, while throwing you into a house full of strangers, which I think is kind of crazy. But yeah, anyway, they do this whole intake situation and take your phones and stuff, and they put it in an annex location, ANNEX, annex. This is in our contract too, but it's a location off of property where they hide all of your belongings. So for safekeeping, put all of your belongings. We don't know where that is. They never tell us the address. They don't tell us anything. It's just off property from the house. And then we also go to a different annex location when we're eliminated. Of course, we don't go home. We go to a hotel. But even when you're in the hotel, you still don't get your phone and your belongings back. But everybody had to give up their phone. When moving in, everyone talked about how weird it was to give up their phone. And like the last text that they sent their parents, or what they said to their boyfriend or fiance or whatever. And then Brendi was the only one to say that she didn't have a phone. She said, I don't even own a cell phone. And I remember us all kind of looking around and being like, girl, it's 2018. Who don't got a cell phone?
Girl.
You mean to tell me they picked you up at the airport and found you in LAX without a phone? Come on, please don't lie. Like, don't lie. So for me, that was like the telltale sign. I was like, girl, you got a goddamn phone. You just didn't hand it over. Which, fine, do you. Like, be slick. I don't care. Like, please keep your phone on record at all times and then link with me after this is over and let's make something happen. But it wasn't like that. She came for me. But I in my head, I'm like, okay, so Brendi's got to be the one with the phone. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's not her. And then when they asked me about it, like I won the London challenge. Right before that, though, they pulled me up the stairs and like it was production and Tyra. And they asked me about a phone. They said, we have reason to believe you have a phone. And I said, well, what's your reason?
Tyra Banks was in the room with this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they were deciding the winner for the challenge. So she was standing right next to the producer when they asked me. She was like, she wasn't like right there, but she was like in the hallway right where they were asking me. So she definitely heard the conversation. But she was like, we have a reason to believe that you have, and I won't say the name. I won't say the producer's name, Jamie. But she asked me, like, she was like, we just have reason to believe you have a phone. Do you have a phone? And I was like, no, like, I don't. And at the time, my parents still paid my phone bill. Like, I gave up a whole phone. The phone wasn't even in my name. Like, I had no obligation to my phone. I was like, take the phone. Like, I'm here to be here. Like, I'm like, I don't care to like be on a phone relaying information back to who? For what? My family don't care about this damn show. Like, who am I going to tell information to? Please. The only other people I would have to talk to about it are also stuck in a hotel, and y'all got their phone too. So please tell me who I'm going to talk to. You know, like I was like, why? What reason to believe do you have? And they wouldn't give me any specifics, and I was just like, okay, this is really fucking weird. And I was like, no. And I got defensive, and I'm like, no, like I'm here to compete. I don't care about my phone for 2 months. I really don't. And so they were like, okay, let me go downstairs with the rest of the house. But then they also told me as soon as I was leaving, same producer pulls me back and tells me, don't talk to the girls about this. Don't mention it to the girls. Why, when we just competed for a challenge, you bring me upstairs to make them think that you're obviously telling me I'm the winner of the challenge before it even gets announced. So it makes all those girls downstairs hate me and think I know what's up, right? It's not that. I went upstairs to fight you guys about a fucking phone, not about knowing I'm the winner. And then when I go back downstairs, you tell me I'm the winner so that all the other girls think she must have known something was up. She's talking to producers, it's this, that, and the other thing. Like, but I think that they were trying to dictate whether or not the phone was mine before they would tell me if I was a winner. You know, but either way, like it didn't have any correlation with one another. It was just really weird with the phone situation. And then when we got done, when that was announced, I remember telling the girls before the winner was announced, I said, no, there was no cameras around. Everybody's sitting on like our pool chairs, our couches, waiting for the winner to be announced for that challenge. And I said, I can't go downstairs and not tell these girls what the hell they just said to me upstairs, regardless of them telling me not to come downstairs and tell them. I'm not coming downstairs and not telling them. So I called everybody over and I said, look, I said, one of you bitches has the phone. And I said, somebody in this house has a phone. And I said, I don't think it's fair that I just got called upstairs and threatened to be, they threatened to kick me out of the competition. They said it was a breach of contract. Plus they had the reason to believe I had the phone. But I said, I didn't think it was fair for me to be threatened knowing I didn't have the phone. And like, where does this come from? And somebody in here obviously is giving them an inclination that that's happening. And why am I the one being pointed the finger at? Like, I just don't think it's fair. And I'm like, so whoever has it needs to either come clean or turn your phone in. Like, it's that simple. Like, it's literally that simple. But I didn't want the girls to think that nothing happened and that they just told. And so I had to tell them. And everybody was like, everybody walked around, they're like, ooh, who has the phone? Who has the phone? You got the phone? You turned it in? You didn't? Like, it turned into like this crazy like game of like who turned in a phone. And we all started realizing Brendi never turned in a phone. Like, that was a conversation from before. So we all started being like, she did say she didn't turn in a phone. So after the winner got announced for that challenge, everybody leaves. Cameramen are still there. Producers like talk to us about it as a house because they knew I said something. And as they leave, Brendi kind of got a little crazy about looking for the phone. She started telling people that she wanted to go through their suitcases. She wanted to go through their backpacks. She wanted to go through. When I tell you the girl was pulling lights out the damn ceiling, looking for a phone tucked into a light socket, I'm telling you, Brendi K had the phone. Nobody thinks like that. Who ain't slick? Like, come on. Look, what law say you can't outslick a can of oil?
Oh, well.
But what do I know? I don't know nothing. And then just so happens that 3 days after that, she ended up going home. But I think that it was a self-deprecation thing, obviously, that happened. But at the same time, I do think she breached the contract and they were trying to find ways to use her self-deprecation as a cover-up for her breach of contract and make it all seem like it flowed. That's my logic, being there. But I don't know nothing because I wasn't there. I don't know nothing.
Mission accomplished, I guess.
I mean, hey, I don't know. I really wish her well. Like, I think that's why, like, people get mad about me talking about Brendi in the scenario. Number one, I was really close with her, and then she really flipped on me. Like, something happened that it's not my place to talk about, and I refuse to talk about. If you get a chance to speak to her, maybe she'll open up to you about this. I don't know, you know. But there was something that I witnessed, everybody else witnessed and experienced with her, you know, that was very monumental, and life changing and affecting, no matter what.
While filming.
Mm-hmm. And she started a very different girl than she ended. I'm not going to speak on what happened. I literally will let her tell that to the world herself if she ever gets to that point. But during that process, we went from loving each other and sharing a bed to, like, she hated me and moved all of her stuff out of my room. Same thing that Rio did. You know, so it's like, we really started off close and then ended bad. And then after the show was over, like, I reached out to her and checked in with her and, like, gave her a little bit of money, go get her nails done and take care of herself and stuff, you know. Like, I wanted everybody to know, like, I don't have any ill feelings toward anybody, regardless of, like, what's happened in the narratives that they gave us. But she definitely changed on me, like, halfway through. So, like, I don't know. I hope she's good. Like, I really do. I wish her well. But, like, with people seeing me say in my confessional, like, just go home. I meant that. I still don't take that back. Go home. Like, she wasn't in a mental space to be there. And it literally was better for her to go home. Like, her being there was more damaging than it was fulfilling and benefiting. So to me, it was a matter of seeing somebody self-deteriorate and everybody else being the person being like, no, keep going. No, damn, well, the person does not need to keep going. Like, that's going to be their downfall. Like, they need to go home, take a break for a minute, you know, like, literally take a break. Like, so yeah. And then, you know, she doesn't talk very much. And I know a lot of people ask us, like, what happened because we were there, but she asked to go home, like, maybe like 4 or 5 days before they actually let her. Like, they forced her to stay and, like, created a whole narrative and, like, a whole exit for her and stuff. Like, the girl literally just wanted to go home. So
I got you. So, you know, a part of me wants to dig to know, but
I know, and I know you want to dig, like, but I'm telling you as much as I already know being there. Like, I can only make assumptions based off of what was going on with her mentally, emotionally, physically, all that other stuff. I can only make those assumptions, regardless of what I saw. I can only make assumptions, you know. So it's like, I know on a very, like, people also heard me say it in a mean way, but, like, I said, you know, this can't function in a professional environment. It can't. You cannot bring personal life, like, shit like that to your shoots. It's not a stab at Brendi. It's just a stab at the fact that she's not ready yet. And for me, I'm sick of people being thrown into shit that they're not ready for. Like, it's not fair, and it's damaging to people. It really is a problem. Like, it hurts a lot more people than they think, you know? So, like, for me, I was defensive for everybody. Like I said, I was protective. I was like a mom. Like, Khrystyana didn't name me Mother Teresa for no reason.
Right.
Like, I really cared. I really cared about everybody, like, a lot.
Gotcha. I won't dig out of respect. I won't dig. I just had to let you guys know that I wanted to, but I'm deciding not to. Okay. So we're almost done with the questions. We're almost done. This has been a very, very roller coaster live, but I'm enjoying it. How are you doing over there?
It has been. I'm good. I'm on my last sip of tea.
Okay, and we're coming around the mountain. Okay. The Lychee 100 is asking, do you find it frustrating that the point of this cycle was that you could be any age, size, or height, but then the winner is a tall 19-year-old straight-sized girl who only took one good photo? Now, y'all be reading Kyla too much. Don't read Kyla. I like Kyla. But I'm reading their question. They said, but then the winner is a tall 19-year-old straight-sized girl who only took one good photo.
One good photo is a fucking stretch, number one, because she had more than one good photo.
She did.
Let's start there. I think that all of her photos and concepts and number one, let me go back. Not talking about Kyla for the quality of her pictures and if she had one good photo or 20 good photos. the production capabilities behind our photo shoots, the concepts behind it, the hair and makeup, like the themes, everything. When you go back and compare it to like the concepts that you've had in other past cycles, it's way more like.
I mean, you guys stayed on a backdrop or in a warehouse.
No, literally, we stayed in the same warehouse. You guys might think we were in a different warehouse. We were in the right corner, the left corner, the back corner this episode, and this corner, and they made it look like it was a gold room or a black room or like a really dark, grungy place. Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, I was just joking, but I was actually right.
No, yeah, we really were in a warehouse the whole time. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Every now and then we were in like a Kiksodi, I think that's what it's called, studio. But yeah, we were in the same warehouse the whole time. But no, in general, like the themes behind our suits weren't like monumental. They weren't like they weren't fashion forward. It wasn't setting a trend. Like, for instance, the beauty sandwich. I've seen that picture before, years before Top Model. They took that inspiration from something else. Top Model used to be the show that like would do the beauty sandwich, and then all of a sudden the world would copy it. Like, we didn't have that opportunity to be trendsetters in our cycle, so I thought it was weird. Like, the quality that came, like, I'm not even gonna lie to you, ain't none of them pictures in my book, my professional book. None of those pictures from the season. Huh?
Not even the gold one?
The gold one with Zach is, and my paper cover, only because I like my face, but I cut the paper out of it.
I would say you were big pussy in that gold one.
I tried. No, I mean, I like my photos, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that they're as good as they could have been. There was been a lot of time for a lot of things too, so I understand like production and quality takes time as well, and I think that was left out. But
talking about Kyla,
it's okay, I got you. Her name Kyla. But no, number one, I think she had way more than one good photo. But what was the question? Remind me again.
So the people saying, girl, hold on, let me open her up. The people said, this is Leegi 100. Do you find it frustrating that the point of this cycle was that you could be age, size, height, but then the winner is a tall 19-year-old straight size girl who only took one good photo?
Okay, yeah, so this isn't a stab at Kyla whatsoever, but yes, I do find it frustrating that that was the premise of the season, and that the girl who was under those parameters wasn't the winner. And that's why I say, when you look back at everything with the size, the age, the unique look, the everything, Khrystyana was my girl. Like, she fit all that shit, all of it, like, and was unconventional too. So for me, like, it was kind of weird for it to be given to what would have been like a cycle 3 or a cycle 4 girl. You know what I'm saying? Who had everything and didn't really need to fight very much. Like, I know she's had her own little adversities in life, and, you know, she's had a brain trauma and stuff like that too, and like, she's a fighter, you know, she's gone through a lot of shit just like we all have. But I think in a show that's deemed to, like, she literally could walk into any agency and be working the same way that she is now. In a weird way, I do feel like a well-deserved spot was taken from somebody who could have used that as an uplifting experience for their difference. I do think that, but at the same time, who am I to take that away from Kyla? She also deserves that too. And I feel like I'm being like very, like, people are probably like, oh, she's being so two-sided. Like, she's like opinionated, but then she's like, oh, but no, I like her. Like, no, I really want people to understand I'm opinionated in the situation. But I understand where everybody should have deserved a certain thing and where we should have been enlightened. Like, and everybody should have been given, you know what I mean, an opportunity to grow and thrive. Like,
yeah.
You know, in Kyla's defense, I don't think they did the best job in building her to be a working model. Like, she'd do more, like, way better in a model house, or like going through like an elite model camp or something over the summer. Like, she would have learned so much more from that than she would have from Top Model the show. You know, like, she didn't need the show. She really didn't. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't think the show has negative connotations. That'll always be something she has to battle now in the real world while she's trying to work and can book a Vogue cover in 2 seconds. She'll always be tied with America's Next Top Model. And that's a really hard tag to let go, you know? Like, it really is. You'll hear it from girls that have done Top Model 15 years ago. Like, they constantly get tied with ANTM or America's Next Top Model, and they want to just be, I can bring it up. They want to just be fucking Lisa D'Amato. Like, Lisa's dope. She just wants to be fucking Lisa. She's sick of being tied to top model too, you know? Like, she just wants to be great in what she does, you know? Like, we all do.
Right.
You can't always just let it go like that. So it worries me for girls like her who could have made it without this show.
Made it without her. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. How did it feel for you being eliminated, brought back, eliminated, then saved, then losing out in the final two? I was like, nah, girl, y'all did all this. Y'all could have sat in this mama's home and let it be that.
They were bored. Can we just start by saying I was the show?
Say it again.
I was the show all season.
I'm rubbing off on you. I like this. Say it again.
No, it's true. That really is true. I was y'all's good, bad, and evil. No, yeah, it was, to be honest, exhausting because it was more so like, just eliminate me or just keep me. Like, stop playing these games. Like, please stop. It was exhausting. It really was. Like, I don't even, and then trying to pull yourself into like I was so emotional and like I was pissed that so that's why you guys see me crying when I'm done with everything, and I like don't really want to hug people because I'm mad. I gotta get out of there because I'm like really emotional. But I just like went from being angry to like, then they'd be like, psych, you're coming back. And then it would put me back into this like competitive headspace, right? But then I was also still angry on the underparts of it, so it didn't matter how I fought after that. It was just like anger. Like they built anger, and then they played this like wavy game of like being positive and like being like, oh, I can do it, and then shitting on me and being like, damn, like I can't do it. They did that over and over and over again, and I think maybe part of it was to like mess with someone's psyche, and maybe they really thought that they were going to be able to break me to the point where I was just like, nah, I'm not doing this no more. But that never happened. So maybe that makes sense for why it happened so many times, because they were like, oh, this is the time we can get her. Didn't happen. Like, okay, let's try again. Never mind. So, yeah. It was just exhausting, annoying, more so than anything.
Saving a bag and a fire over a child. What the fuck was that, and why? This is Matthias too, my baby Matthias too. He always comes up with great top model questions. I'll finish it. What do you think of Roach's hideous comment about you saving a bag in a fire over a child? What the fuck was that, and why was he even a judge?
Number one, I wasn't there. He's lucky he said that shit while I wasn't standing there. Wait, was I standing there when he said that?
I don't think you were.
It was during the judging after we left, right? Yeah. See, Law, look, I know Law. Law would have never said that if I was standing there. So number one, calling it. But to me, it was like, I remember when I saw it in person, because I didn't see it until after it happened. I have no effects on it after that, right? Like, zero effects on it. I'm watching it on TV as America's watching it. So I was just like, damn, he really said that while I was upstairs? You know, and I was like, no, like that's not right. And I get so defensive when it comes to things like that. Number one, this is the most minute thing to complain about with that statement. I still, to this day, after all the brands and the stuff that I've done, the deals that I've had, the stuff that, like, the money I've even made since all this has happened, I still to this day do not own a designer bag. I haven't. I don't. So please tell me what bag I'm going to run into a burning building to save before I thought about a child. And then number two, for him to say something like that to me, I thought was crazy because, or about me was crazy because if there was one person who going into the competition for me, I was really protective about children and things affecting kids or throughout their childhood that could affect them into adulthood, that are things that are irreversible and cause damage that you can't take back, because I went through those things. But for somebody like that to say something like that in a moment like that, especially when, and I have to bring her up, she's the sweetest little angel ever. Kylie, the little girl that I got to walk with on the final runway for Philippine. And when I tell you, like, I was just texting her mom this morning, but like, she's like literally my little mini-me. We have the same mole on her face. Like, we both have alopecia. Our moms look alike. It was the weirdest thing. So to me, they hit me with like a kid right at the end, knowing like, I've always wanted to be a mom. I love kids, and like, all this shit happened to me when I was a kid. And for him to say something like that in a moment where I was really fighting until the end, and like that's the way you leave it off when like you know that's what's gonna get me. I should have known. Maybe I should have known. I don't know, but it just like didn't fit right and feel right with me. Saying something like that after I just had like a mental breakdown because of this kid you guys just showed me who looks just like me, and I'm like, what? Like I was in a really weird like mental space at the end. I didn't care about winning. I didn't want to win going into the competition in general. But you know, it was like the last moment, like where you guys could have just not done that. Like you've had 2 months of like treating me like shit and doing everything. You didn't have to leave it on those terms. You know what I'm saying? So it just hurt. Because kids need to be protected and they're innocent, you know, like they don't know. I don't know, it's crazy. Like it just like for me it felt really bad to like be given that like image, knowing that I'm just not that person. And if there's anything that I would do, it would be to run into a burning building and save a kid before I save myself or a bag. And I think that's what hurt, is that like you don't know me from the bitch down the fucking street, so who are you to say anything like that and mean it? Like to me that was kind of crazy. It really was crazy. And I like that was the moment where I was like, you know what, I don't know how I feel about this. And I thought I had made a relationship and like built at least a somewhat open relationship with Law at that point in real life, to the point where Martavius is on here in the comments too, and I see him. But he kind of, you know, came to my defense a lot when it happened. But I remember after I saw it, there's no way for me to, I don't have Law's phone number. I don't have Ashley's phone number or any of that. The only thing I could do was social media, because we were constantly being tagged left and right and everything, you know. And I remember, you know, commenting on the post that was on the top model page, and they tagged him. It was just a meme of him saying that comment of like the running into the burning building for the bag thing. And then the caption said on top model's page, it said, "We all know that one girl." It never said my name, but it was referring to me. And things like that are shady, and not a cute shade, a shitty shade, like something that's unnecessary. Like you don't need to do things like that. And I remember commenting on it and tagging Law because he was the one who said it, and being like, look, like to me it's kind of weird that like you would say something like that and then like just go with it and not ever defend it knowing that you were wrong. Like you've created a trajectory for somebody that they have to live now in real life that's not fair just because it's 3 words that you said. You know, like it's that simple. Like for you to just address it and get it over with, like even if it's not just for you, it's for me or the fans or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like it takes 2 seconds to address it, and he just wouldn't. And we went into like a comment battle, and I remember I DM'd him after, because the fans started going crazy in the comments. I was like, I can't keep talking about this with him here. I DM'd him and I just said, hey, you know, look, I don't really know how to address this. And I said, I think my feelings are really hurt because that statement came from you, and I didn't know you felt that way in the moment. But I was like, you know, if you really truly felt that way, then I guess I would more so love an explanation. But like, if not, like, you know, and Law's explanation to me, I asked him, why are you like that? Like, why do you get like that with me? Where you like, you love me, but you also hate me. Like, what is that? He said, girl, he said, I'm just cunty. He was like, I'm just cunty. That's my personality. He was like, don't take me seriously. So I was like, okay. And I understand that. Like, I'm around gay culture all the time. I get it. But there's times where not everything and how you say it can just be passed off as just being cunty. Like your words have meaning and they carry weight. Like, and you can't blame everything off of tea and shade. Like that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he used that excuse as a reason for why he mistreated me and said what he said. But you know, I asked him about that, and he just was like, look, I just said basically that I didn't feel like it was fair for me to have to deal with the things that I'm dealing with, the death threats and all the shit in real life that I'm dealing with right now because of a comment that you said. And it's not just you, but it's more than just that. But that was the lasting the lasting statement people have to go off of with me. And he said, look, I sent you that screenshot. You saw it. But basically it was more so just a response of like, who cares? It is what it is. You're the most popular girl from Cycle 24, and you should be happy with that. I'm not happy with that because you just created a whole narrative and personality for me. You're hiding your face. But yeah, like to you that feels good. I'm the most popular girl from the cycle, so it should just be fine. I'm not okay with that. Like, I gotta go for jobs. Like, I have to show up in person and be me. And like, if they saw what you said and take what you said into consideration, there's nothing I can do. And I, you know, when I said, why is that fair for me to have to deal with? Because this is shit I have to deal with in real life. He said, it doesn't matter. He said, just change people's mind with your work. He literally said, just change people's minds with your work. How am I supposed to do that? My work is not going to change the narrative you guys put on TV for me, no matter what I did. Like, how? And I change it with my work. Okay, cool. After no one will hire me. Okay. You know, like, I'm not saying like, and I don't think that, I feel bad because I feel like people like really rag on these judges and stuff like after we say something, because they're such diehard fans for us that they're like, no, cancel, done, off with his head.
I mean, but I'm not gonna take up for Law. One, because I don't have a dog in the fight, and two, I wasn't there. I'm not gonna take up for him. But yeah. what I can speak to is, excuse me, my gum has gotten stale.
It's okay.
You
got sunflower seeds to go with that?
No, I'm not going to play with you. What I have learned about my community who is in the who are in the entertainment business, or they're known for something, from my experiences, the goal is always for you to be known.
Yeah.
As long as you're known, you've made it. And I'm not speaking about Law. I'm just speaking about my experiences with other people and just hearing this. And I feel like because us as gay people have been a marginalized group within a marginalized group within a group that's not even supposed to be here, a lot of times we just settle for the surface things. Oh, that bitch got a bag. Oh, that bitch got hair. Oh, she cute. Oh, everybody know your name, girl. Like, that's what we settle for sometimes. And it's like, you know, it's more than just the surface. And like you said, shade, the words just can't be passed off. Oh, girl, don't take it serious. I was just throwing shade. No, you said something that holds weight, and you need to be accountable and take responsibility for what your words have now caused in the minds of people and in the heart of my body. That's all I'll say about that.
I'm you know already. I'm happy you spoke on it from the other end of it, because I'm on the receiving end. So for me, it like means something like a lot that you spoke on the other end. Because I don't think that part is.
I don't know Miss Law Roach. I just know Miss Law Roach from America's Next Top Model, and I loved her on America's Next Top Model. And then I saw her on Ooh, there was this one time though. Ooh, I have a Law Roach story. I just remember. It's not bad.
Tell me.
No. So my best friend was working in New York City, and he was working in a luxury store, and Law Roach came in, and him and Law Roach started conversations, and I think Law was in search of someone to do his website, like his graphics or something like that, and that's what I do. Like, that's my main job. Like, I'm like, people, like, I help them come up with things, and I show them how to do it, or I'll do it and whatnot. So
I might need you then. Okay.
Law Roach, and I think Law Roach is going to hire us to do some creative work for him. It never happened, but that's my...
I'm about to say not no more. He not.
Damn.
It's my fault. It's okay. I'll pay you. I'll hire you.
But I never felt a way about it. Like, I didn't think it was nothing personal, because, you know, people come. I could do a whole hour live on the amount of celebrities that have come to me and be like, "Hey, I want to hire you." Outside of the ones that have hired me publicly, you guys, the people that people know have hired me, but it would go on forever and ever. And please don't even get me started on demos I recorded and I've heard them on the radio. I ain't even get it.
Really? That's cool.
I mean, it was cool when
if you're being paid for it, it's cool.
I did it, but that's
not cool.
It's okay. Okay, I want to ask you about the whole desert thing, and then we're gonna get off, because girl, we've been on this thing for 3 hours. It hasn't felt like 3 hours, but we've been on it.
Really, well, we had like a 15-20 minute error because of my phone, but
Tell us about what happened in the desert when you hit your eye, because Shanice tried to make it seem like you were being a drama queen. And I remember you did your live video talking about it, but can you talk about it again? Don't know.
Yeah, so I actually got hit in the back of the head. But I was in wardrobe, which wardrobe was off the end of the tent. So I'm in a dress, and number one, when I tell you we were in the wild, wild west. It was crazy. There was rattlesnakes behind our makeup booths, and there was like a park ranger guy. He looked like Crocodile Dundee. Like, he was ready for anything, right? And there was rattlesnakes everywhere. And anytime they would like come near where we were at, he would go and put a big orange cone on top of the snake. But that could have been literally right behind your makeup station. Like me sitting here right now, it would have been like 3 feet to my right.
Ooh, no.
You just knew where they were based off these orange cones, right? So I knew, like, I was like, this is a really dangerous place. And like, I grew up in Minnesota. I grew up around snow, water, not the desert, not that sand, not whatever the hell was going on there. So I was just like, I don't know how I feel about this right now. But I walked over after I was done with makeup. I walked over, finished my whole face, right? Walk over to wardrobe, and they put me in this dress. Take the dress off me. I put my regular clothes back on. And as I'm doing that, I see, like, no joke, maybe like half a mile in the distance, I see a big brown like dust cloud just like moving in like this crazy way, but I could tell it was like kind of coming toward us, but I wasn't sure because it was kind of like it would go left and it would go right, like up, down, like it was really scary. And I was just like watching this thing. I really wasn't scared at first. Like, I really didn't like, and I didn't think I made it a big deal. I really don't. But after I put my regular clothes back on, I was turning around. I was just turning around as the wind hit me, right? So there was a gust of wind, but then right after the gust of wind comes the little sand particles. So the brown cloud hadn't made it to us yet. I just hit the wind. So the wind hits me. I barely have eyelashes, number one. I have alopecia. So for me to block wind with my eyes, like, it hurts. My eyes water a lot because my eyelashes are really thin. So for me, I turn my back on the whole wind situation. So I don't know if the actual brown cloud of sand is going to make it to us or not. I just knew that there was wind and my eyes were dry. And I had my makeup done, so I didn't want to fuck up my makeup. So I turn around, and I'm walking from the wardrobe station back to where the makeup station was. And in that time, the whole wind thing made it to us, lifted up every single tent, every single one. Not just the one that you guys see that they put in slow motion for 2 seconds that they showed was the one that hit me. That wasn't the one that hit me. The one that hit me was the one that was already in the distance, blown over into the hill that you guys can see. But they didn't film that. Everybody was on lunch. The camera guys were on lunch break. No one was actually recording it. So a couple tents flipped over. They all pick up their cameras, run over, and they get the aftermath of what's actually happening instead of what happened when it happened. Now, if that didn't actually happen to me, tell me why I have 3 people from production who can confirm that I signed a medical waiver, a detailed medical waiver for the incident, signed off that I would not go to the hospital for it and that I preferred to stay on set, and that because I chose to stay on set that I received on-set medical attention. And that if that wasn't good enough with him rinsing out my eye, the medic is actually who told me while rinsing out my eye that he could actually see a scratch on my cornea and that he felt like I should go to the hospital. I hadn't done my photo shoot yet. And my makeup was all, like, he literally had like a bottle with a tube in it and was just like drenching my whole face. My eyelashes were falling off. Like, I had mascara in my eyes, like all kinds of stuff. So I knew I had to get my makeup done over again, which was a problem in general. And then he said that if it didn't feel like it went away, that he was going to have to take me to, they were going to have to take me to the hospital, and I didn't have a choice if I felt like I couldn't see or whatever. So I'm sitting there lying. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. You know, and the whole time I can't see. Like, I couldn't see anything. My whole eyeball was scratched. But when the wind, like the tent got picked up, it flipped over. So there's 4 prongs, right? There's 4 legs. It picked it up, like it completely lifted it. And then it flipped it this way to roll over. So as this leg from the back was rolling this way, I'm standing here. And it hits me in the back of my head as it starts rolling and tumbling off into the desert. But no one sees that, of course, you know. And like, I wasn't even really tripping about me getting hit in the back of the head. Like, I was more so tripping about the fact that I couldn't see. Like, my eyes were really fucked up. I don't have eyelashes to block sand from getting in my eyes like most normal people. You know, like, I think people underestimate what your eyelashes really do for your eyes. And I thought it was my eyebrows. Huh?
But you're fine now.
Yeah, I'm okay now. Like I was fine when it happened, you know, like I just stuck it out. My eyes were irritated for a day or two, and like, you know, it wasn't a big deal. Like it wasn't a life or death situation for anybody to really make it out to be that way.
But it did happen,
But it did happen, yeah. And I think it's weird. I think where I got annoyed was like people saying like, she didn't get hit in the head with the tent. Like, how do you know? We all had our eyes closed. I wish if you could see through what was going on at that time, you got magic powers, bitch. Please tell me what all happened. Because, like, there's no way you could see through the sand if I couldn't. Like, you know, I don't know. There's just like.
It sounds like American Gladiators instead of America's Next Top Model.
Well, and number one, like, so many people are like, why don't you sue? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You know what? Y'all are right, because it's a liability to not have a tent anchor down on a set like that. That's a health concern. That's a risk.
With the rattlesnakes and the orange cones. Oh, girl.
The rattlesnakes with the Crocodile Dundee guy. Like, look, he knows his job. I'm gonna have him do his job. What he can't control is Mother Nature, and that's why you guys need anchors and sandbags and weights and things like that so that people don't get hurt. And when somebody does get hurt, don't sit there and not take the blame or not take responsibility for what the hell happened. Don't sit there and act like, oh no, it didn't happen. Like, I don't think that's fair to like put on national television that I faked an injury and something that was so severe like that when it was their fault. Like, I don't think that's fair to have somebody carry that. Like, the hell do I look like running around saying a pole that hit me in the back of the head that really wasn't life or death was like, oh, I didn't, like, no. So for me, it's just weird. Like, they made every little scenario with me be like dramatic. I don't know. Yeah, and I really don't care about that shit. Like, I'm a very chill, like, I'm super mellow. I'm really mellow. Like, in reality, all I want to do is smoke a fucking blunt, take a shot of Jag, chill, you know? Like, I don't have a lot of time and energy for bullshit and stuff. Like, I like animals. I like quiet.
Are you a dark liquor girl?
Ooh, no. So the only thing that I literally can stomach is Jack Daniels. Only because I've been drinking it for like a year and I've had to force myself to get used to it. But before this year, I didn't drink it at all.
Okay.
Like, maybe I could do a white wine, but it had to be like really delicate.
Okay. Teach you something that a trade taught me.
Yes, teach.
Told me, he said, you have to spend money on alcohol because the more money you spend on it, the less you'll feel sick and the quicker you'll get drunk. So my boyfriend and I got turned on to Hennessy VSOP, and you mix it in with I feel like I'm about to mispronounce it wrong. Grand Marnier.
Yeah. Grand Marnier. Good. Oh, I'm gonna have to try it. I'm doing Christmas early. I'm gonna do Christmas tomorrow night with all my roommates and stuff. So we're gonna like make food and like get everybody drunk. And then at midnight we're gonna open presents.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a drink to make everybody, and I don't know yet.
Or you can get some okay, so like what I'll do is you can get some Hennessy, get some Baileys, get some Kahlua, and mix that all together.
Kahlua is really good.
Yes, Hennessy, Baileys, and Kahlua, mix it together.
All right, I'm gonna have to do
if
that.
You were standing before Tyra Banks right now, what would you say to her?
I wouldn't talk to her.
You wouldn't?
No, I don't like her.
Oh.
I still think she's just as pretty as ever. Like, she's beautiful. I'm still so happy and proud of the things that she's done in her career. And I'm not the girl to hold grudges, like I say, unless you really burn me, like I said on the show. And she burned me. So for me, I'm not sure I could have a conversation with that person. I call her that person. I've had a few people ask me like, oh, like if you happen to walk across her on the sidewalk, what would you do? I'd have a hard time not throwing hands, but I'll restrain myself. Because I don't respect that shit. I don't respect being left on scene. I think that she had a duty and something to uphold, and I think she failed.
Fair.
That's me. You know, and I'm speaking from my perspective, yes, but I know I'm speaking for so many other girls who also haven't been able to get in touch with her or, you know, all that. And the only reason why she would never, I think, face us or be around us or do whatever is because she has a whole lot to answer for that I don't think she has answers for. And she knows that we would want her to be accountable for it, you know? I'm not about to put that past you. I'm not about to sit here and keep tooting your horn and stroking your ego. You have that chance. That's over.
And
I respect everything she's done. I want to try her ice cream, though. Did you see it? I do kind of want to try her ice cream.
Let me tell you, I love Tyra Banks. You know,
always reinventing herself.
I've never met Tyra Banks, and I've said this all the time. Even though I listen to you guys' stories, and a lot of me believes you guys. I can't internalize it because it's not fair because I haven't met her, and whatever. It's just not fair. That's the ethical humanitarian in me. But I be so sick of Mother, and it's like, girl, you want to do this, now you want to do this, now you want to do that. Naomi Campbell has done one thing, and she did it well, and she's still doing it well. It's like, Tyra, girl, why? I don't want to see no ice cream.
Somebody, I don't even know if this is true, but somebody said Tyra joined. Well, I highly doubt it.
Always watching, so that's why I can.
Somebody from production is watching and relaying information to her, even if they're screen recording, so she don't have to be on her account, and they're gonna send it to her after. Trust somebody's watching.
Oh no! Don't worry about screen recording. It will be up on the Oliver Twixt YouTube channel, available for.
We got you. I don't honestly. I don't even care. I don't even know if she's here or not. But listen, wait. I want to address one thing because I keep seeing this from people. Okay. Talk about the ring moment. What ring moment are you guys talking about?
The ring?
Yeah. I'm like, what ring?
The ring?
These comments.
That bitch coming out the TV. You better get back in there.
So, guys, okay, whoever commented about the ring, multiple of you guys have, like, what ring?
We're talking about 7 days. I hate y'all. I hate y'all.
The Ring, the movie is what they're talking about. Duh.
Oh, I know what they're talking about. They said, okay, I know what they're talking about. Khrystyana in our chat said that you could bend, like you could do this whole contortionist thing and like climb up this. Can we? Okay, yeah. Okay, no. Oh, no. Now listen.
Yeah,
before you go,
I'll do it.
Back this camera up because I want to see it.
I walked up the stairs this way. I walked down the stairs this way. I don't even know if I could do it. That was a couple of years ago. I don't even know if my body works.
Back the camera up. I want to see.
Let me go get the wig first. Hold on.
Girl, you still got the wig. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I still got a bunch of wigs. Yes, of course. Of course. All right, guys. Welcome to my bookshelf.
Hey, bookshelf.
All right.
So she's finna do this real. I'm finna fall out. I know I'm finna fall out.
I don't know if I can still do it, Oliver. I really don't even know. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I gotta tighten this so it doesn't fall off. I feel so bad because this made Khrystyana, like, she fell backwards into a whole shower. Like, she... I felt so bad.
Look, mama.
She's like, oh gosh, what's happening? All right. So basically, instead of putting it on the normal way, I just put it on my face like this. Okay. And then, let me make sure I don't run into nothing. Okay. Y'all better hope I don't break no bones. But yes, that's it. But she just wasn't expecting it. Did I walk straight?
Did
I flash you guys? My
I don't think you did.
I hope not.
I don't think you did.
But yeah.
And with that, Gina,
yes,
I want to say thank you for calling me. Is it Tyra? It's not Tyra. Oh. Listen, I want to say thank you so much for being brave. I want to thank you so much for allowing us into your heart and in your mind and in your soul and into your story. Everything, as I've said before, everything that you have done has trickled down back to this moment right here. And you should be so proud of yourself for being one of the first people to talk honestly about your experience about that show. And it has resulted in so many people talking about their show and voicing their experiences. And I want to say thank you. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are beautiful, and you are bigger than what happened to you that day. Not that day, but during cycle 24, you are bigger than all of that. You are bigger than all of that. You are bigger than all of that. That is just a drop in the big ocean of who you are as a person, as a model, as a friend, as a sister, all those things. And I want you to hold your head up high every day because you have done great things. I don't want you to apologize for crying. I don't want you to apologize for being upset. I don't want you to apologize for anything. Because what you're doing is amazing work, and we are all so thankful. And for the bitches who are not thankful, what you gonna tell them?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. And I just want to take the time to, I'm sure every girl you've talked to has thanked you for the opportunity to talk and like allow them to release is the best word I can give to it. But thank you for being just like a source for girls to speak to and share their stories, whether it goes really far or not. You know, like I think no matter what, there's something to be said about people who will let us speak our truth when everything was so buried, you know, and like there's not very many people after the moments that even like look at us like that. So I just want to thank you on behalf of everyone else.
Oh, thank you.
I know all the girls love you.
Guys, so much. No, I love you girls back. You girls, it's like I say all the time, it's so cool. I feel like I'm cool because I used to watch all of you girls. I still watch all of you girls, still to this day. And it's like for me to be injected into this universe with you all and share these spaces with you all is an honor to me. And it's like I can slightly die happy because it's like I never would have thought this would happen and I would talk to you girls. Like, no, it really does mean a lot because Top Model, with all the shit that it does, holds a special place in my heart for giving me identity as a gay black man, all those other things that I always talk about. So I thank you guys for always taking time out of your schedule to share these moments with me. And so, yes, always grateful.
Of course. And I'm going to address one last thing because I know it has come up a million times. Everybody wants to know where you can watch Cycle 24, right?
Oh, girl, you got to go pirate it.
So who has a Fire Stick? Raise your hand. An Amazon Fire Stick? Raise your hand, which should be like everyone by now. If you don't, go ahead and buy yourself a $29.99 Amazon Fire Stick off Amazon right now. And then DM me, and I'll help you jailbreak it. But you can watch anything you want, and I'll make sure you can see Cycle 24. But I think the issue is licensing.
Licensing.
So it's licensing. So unfortunately, you kind of can't find it anywhere. So you kind of have to Daily Motion it or whatever. But even Daily Motion is kind of bad. So if you want like a high quality.
I found one when I was preparing for Khrystyana. If you guys DM, yeah, 1, 2, 3 movies. I watched it on
1, 2, 3. But 1, 2, 3, be careful with 1, 2, 3 though, because it'll give you a virus.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That one I'm messing up right now.
But if either way, you got an Amazon Fire Stick, DM me. I got you on Cycle 24.
And that, everyone, please send kisses, hugs, and great energy to Gina as she leaves from giving us an amazing interview on Top Model Cycle 24.
I had so much fun. I don't know why I was nervous now.
I don't know why you were nervous either, but we got through it, and I'm so happy.
Me too. I'm happy. Very happy.
And
sorry my phone died, you guys.
I'm gonna put, after we get off this, I'm gonna put you, myself, and Alicia in a group thingy because I want you.
Yeah, I would love to talk to her.
Yay! Alrighty, well, I'm gonna let you go, Huns.
Perfect. Have a good night.
You too, babe.
Bye.
You know what? I'm not even gonna say a word, but guys, this will be uploaded and premiering on my YouTube channel in the morning. This was an emotional, comedic. I felt everything. I appreciate her honesty. I appreciate her standing in her truth and telling her experiences. It is my prayer that a lot of people get healed from this and are inspired to stand in their own truth and start speaking about their experiences and putting words to them. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. Thank you to everyone who gave a badge tonight. I didn't get into the questions because look, we talked for 3 hours, so whatever we ain't answer, we just ain't answer it, goddamn it. And with that, be sure to pray and Kegel, you know. And you know, a lot of people think I be being funny when I say pray and Kegel. First of all, you're cleaning your spirit out, you're cleaning your body out from all the impurities and negative energy, and you're like, okay, now that I am in a safe place and space, let me do something proactive by tightening my pussy muscle. Tighten your pussy muscle, okay? Bye, y'all.